we'll drop you out and then bring you back on. Like we're doing a real show, like professional wise, like we know what we're doing.
Okay.
The secret is we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, go figure. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I can tell you don't know what you're doing because you didn't play the intro.
Oh, that's true. We've only done this like 3 times. It's okay. It's fun.
Well, we are.
I always forget to do that.
And now we're live. So Patreon exclusive live intro. We already had people in here.
I know.
And then you hit the and then you hit the intro. I was in the middle of saying it.
I know, and I thought it was funny that I cut you off.
I saw you cracking up in the green room down there.
Yeah, Wilbon's right. It was a rookie move, but here's the thing: if you never move to the pros, you get to stay a rookie, and then you can't. So, I don't know where I'm going with that. I had nothing.
Well, to be fair, we went 69 episodes without doing it, and then just kind of started it. This is what episode 3 with.
I'll get the hang of it.
Yeah. But we have a guest, so our Patreon members who are watching us live, we have a guest with a guest who needs no introduction for sure.
Yeah, he probably does. Honestly, he probably.
You think so? You think so?
Probably does. Chris Pirillo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I was like, I can. I'm really good at introing myself, but
we'll probably have you intro yourself on the main podcast
whenever we start the actual audio.
Yeah,
I think to not be introduced is actually an honor. So I will stay.
Oh, that's nice.
I will stay not introduced.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if you don't know who Chris Pirillo is, just go Google him.
Yeah, it's like you don't either have internet connection.
Yeah.
Or you live in a third world country that probably doesn't have internet connection, I guess. That's probably the only 2 options if you don't know who Chris Pirillo is.
And Chris Hilsey, I'm sorry. I know who you are. You're my friend, and I watch you sleep, and you sleep really well, but you also probably need a CPAP machine. Just saying. Get that checked out.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I got awkward now. Did I make it awkward?
Well, if I show up, it's awkward automatically. That's just how it is. I bring the awkward with me.
I like your shirt. I like that you kind of waited to the end of our little pre-show to unveil it.
Well, I realized, I'm sitting here and I have the flannel. I got a flannel on because it's kind of cool around here. And I was like, oh wait, I'm always wearing Star Wars in one way, shape, or form. Like, whether it's a T-shirt or well, usually a t-shirt, hoodie, or what have you. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm like on a Star Wars. I mean, I would, don't get me wrong, if I was in like the average whatever, I did an interview as a host the other day talking about the Fediverse and Mastodon and the future of social media. And the person that I talked with is the co-author of the like basically a spec, and he said, "Oh, we could talk about it like in relation to the Rebels." I'm like, "Oh, for sure." So I actually put on a Poe Dameron Resistance helmet during the interview and everything. So I wore a Jedi shirt and everything. I mean, so I don't need much of an excuse to do that.
I think it's kind of funny that like we're all older guys, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, guys our age, we wearing like button-down shirts and ties, and like here we're all in like graphic tees. Like we definitely that's gone.
There's been a change for sure.
I shared something. I don't know if it's in relation, but I just shared something on Threads. I don't know if I can. Oh yeah, I can't drop the link here. Let me post it in private chat, and then maybe you can. It hit my radar on Facebook, and I just thought it was too funny. If I can find, I can get the direct link for the
I can share my screen.
Share it on the screen.
It's effectively it's funny.
It's so true.
Like, as you know, you talk about the people, like, you know, oh, this is the way, you know, a couple, and then all of a sudden the guy, you know, in the end, I'm like, I get it. I get that. I feel that. Let's normalize that.
Yeah. At what point, you know, we all have a room, obviously, that's like a man cave or an office.
Sure. Let's say,
but it's a toy room
and not a house. Okay, sure.
Right. Sure. Okay. Well, so my wife won't let it be a whole house. It's just a room for me.
Yeah, I'm divorced, so I'm.
Yeah. That's so you can do whatever you want. that's a perk. They never talk about that part. But
maybe we're next, Mike. Maybe we can just
I know who to
spread our wings
I think
out of the house.
That was not the catalyst. In fact, I got to credit where credit's due. She I will say, let it turn into a Star Wars house. It blossomed on its own, and so anyway, yes, we all have Star Wars rooms.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you know, just how different the like our generation, or even like the generation above or directly below us. I think I'm millennial. Zach, are you millennial or are you Gen Z?
I'm like millennial. Remember, I'm like right.
Oh yeah, so you're like on
right
that
in between. Yeah.
And Chris, you're solid.
I'm solid.
Yeah, you're solid right in the X. But still, I feel like, because, you know, like we've had Dan Larson on the channel before too, and he's also like Gen X.
Yeah.
But like, you know, oh yeah, he's great. But like we're all I say in that kind of period where like below our parents, like we never kind of grew out of this like phase, you know, like we had toys in our room, and it wasn't just like our parents had like those stupid little like wooden dolls or whatever, like
if
baseball.
They had that, my parents were boring.
Yeah, so boring.
Seriously, they were like boring.
Yeah.
So I'm a dad, right? And I'm an awesome dad. Like Lego bricks, and we get toy bins on top of toy bins, and I'm playing with this and playing with that. I got this, you know, to the point where when she was younger, my daughter named Jedi, for real.
It's a cool name. It's a cool name.
Well, because my mom's name's Judy. Her maternal grandmother's name's Elia. Her mom's name's Diana, so it's Jedi. That was my angle.
I was going to say, that's a great way to pitch it. And
it's a good acronym. It's a good acronym. Yep.
So yeah, there's no way it could have been better than that. She noticed that when I didn't open something, like, you know, a box or something, no, I'm going to collect it. And I'm just collecting it. It's not to play. So she would get something that she'd say, no, I'm going to collect it. She would keep it in the box. And that would usually be the indication that she wasn't interested in it at all. No, I just want to collect it. I don't want to open it. She just didn't care.
Yeah. My dad collected coins and currency.
Yeah.
So.
Like stamps and stuff. Yeah. Like, how boring.
Right.
How utterly boring.
Although they do have Star Wars stamps. I do have those.
Oh, it's true. That's true. But like, I wouldn't collect them because they're stamps. I collect them because they're Star Wars and stamps. But there are people that are like, I collect stamps and then here's some Star Wars stamps. You know, like it's the stamps that's the draw for them, not the Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I don't think my parents really collected anything, and I'm not going to blame them for my upbringing because I mean I think they did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, we always
all
do.
things considered, you know, growing up in semi-rural Iowa, though not full rural. Try saying that 5 times fast after an IPA. So
rural juror.
So I didn't grow up with comics. We did have toy shops around, but you know, we weren't swimming in them. My dad actually owned a hobby shop back in the day, but the hobbies that they had there there were miniatures, which were kind of fascinating.
Trains,
like
maybe
cars, planes, crafts, but nothing like, why don't you get into why don't you sell Garbage Pail Kids, Dad? Like, why don't you, sell something like Star Wars figures?
Sell Transformers, Dad.
You know, it wasn't that kind of hobby shop at all. So they weren't really into collecting. We didn't have, I wouldn't say we weren't steeped in pop culture. They really didn't even listen to music a lot. And by a stark contrast, I feel like maybe my generation, well, at least X, as we grew older, kind of, remember that time in the 80s and maybe spilling into the 90s and beyond, being a bit more fun with toys. And I will say it was the He-Man era, right? Where the cartoons were made to sell toys, right? It worked so well. Just think about this. I mean, there are people that chase down 70s toys and 60s, but like it's a completely like it hits the 80s and all of a sudden, bam, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars. Something happened.
Yeah.
And I would say it was the commercial
Ronald Reagan.
like specifically the He-Man era that really did that. And then from that point on, I really feel I do feel that was an influence, and I have no data to back that up.
No, I think it's pretty.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm collecting cigarette butts.
It's better than just collecting butts.
It's true. No, I definitely think, it was that whole thing when they got rid of the regulation and toys and commercials and TV shows could all kind of coexist and be very synergetic. I think that definitely had an effect on us.
Big time. Because think about it. What toy brands, like big ones, I mean, you have some that were regenerated or rebooted, if you will, but what brands from the 60s, 70s? I mean, you've got Barbie, right?
Sure.
Obviously had staying power. But like when did it take off? Like a bat out of hell. You're talking even Star Wars era. Star Wars sold, mountains. And then, of course, He-Man. He-Man always springs to mind. He-Man, G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers. Like, it was a cartoon, there was a toy line, right? And then that went all the way down to, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? That was when I was starting to fade out of childhood and into my teenage years. But yeah, I mean, I think that was, I feel that impacted us very much such that we are sitting here in these t-shirts, very comfortable, being surrounded by things that we either had as kids, would have wanted as kids, right? So,
yeah. Man, that's probably the most eloquent discussion we've ever had on our Patreon intro.
Yeah, I would say it is.
That's
That's what you bring to the table.
I brought the thunder.
Yeah,
thunder, right. Thundercats. Oh,
he's just everywhere. That's right.
It has been brought in. Although I never had a Thundercat toy until Super 7 released their Reaction line. I know a lot of people are into the Ultimates, but I'm a Reaction fan because
Which one did you get? Which one did you get?
I've collected the waves. They've released a few like variants, and I tend not to go after the variants. I've sidelined them, but like I'm a huge fan of 5 POA because I grew up Kenner, and I 5 POA for life. Like I know collectors, I get it. Black Series, super articulated, but honestly, I'm not as excited. And again, I realize that I'm more, my scale is like 3.75 inch, 4 inch scale, 5 POA, which is almost the literal opposite of Black Series, which has not kept me from collecting Black Series, certainly. But that's when Super 7, when they released them, I got excited. I didn't have Transformers. I'd never collected them, but the Transformers that I bought were the Super 7 reaction line, like the way they looked in the cartoons. G.I. Joe I did collect as a kid, but really got excited when Super 7 released the reaction line. So it's weird how different things impact us, or the things that we're drawn to in that way. So, little story about the only Thundercats I've ever collected.
I'll put that on the wiki.
Do you collect the new retro figures, the 5 POA retros for Star Wars, like those 5?
Oh yeah. I'm very happy that in fact I'm happy that Hasbro is doing a retro line officially, because they were kind of experimenting with it like in the beginning, and I was like, oh yeah. The only thing I didn't like and I don't like what Hasbro has done with the retro line is recasting some of the originals, and that bothers me. And I'm not going to get in the whole repro debate, because quite honestly, if you're collecting and that's what you want, fine, great. Just don't resell it. Don't, try to pass it off as authentic or vintage.
Sure. That makes sense.
And I kind of take that stance on that front, because if you're collecting, you collect for you. You don't collect because people ask, how much is your collection worth? I'm like, I don't know. It's priceless.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And honestly, I don't care. Like, what I want to know is that I have experienced the joy of having it, looking at it, seeing it, collecting it. It's that emotional experience. So when they released the retro line, I got really excited when they released Tarkin as the exclusive that came with the Star Wars board game.
The board game,
because Tarkin as a retro figure was never produced. I'm like, why don't you do that, Hasbro? Go back to the original trilogy and give us, because we'll go right away. I'm like, well, Tarkin was not a part of the vintage line, so we can, but we could set him alongside our vintage figures and know full well that it's done in the same style. The thing that's I guess was bothersome for me, and I did get him as a collector, being someone who was a fan of the vintage style, 5 POA again. I did get them, but I really got excited when they released the newer one. So so I'm very grateful that Hasbro's released like Mandalorian, Ahsoka, from those long Kenobi. They did a wave of those. Yeah.
All the prequels ones.
What's that?
All the prequel ones that they're doing
prequels.
Right now.
Although the prequels were very nice to see. Although they did the full wave of 6 for episode 1, but have combined or will be combining.
The 2 and 3. Yeah. I think the character selection is kind of weird. Like,
it's hard.
They should have just done it for each movie.
I really should. I wonder if it's just not popular enough to. Or something.
If they went back and really forget about redoing it. I know some people get excited because they never had a Luke Skywalker X-wing pilot on card or whatever. But they had an opportunity. How many characters were never made from the original trilogy?
Yep.
How many?
A lot.
Like, so many. That could
was it 92 figures they did in the original line? Like they're
197? No.
97. It was 97. Yeah, I think
it was the original
90 something. Yeah.
Yak face. You've got of course there's the last 17 Yak face. Yeah. The tall blue blue snaggletooth. Like, you've got some, those two are the ones that they counted, but did they really count? Well, at least in the US.
Right.
They did, because I've got them in my collection, so they count.
If you have it, it counts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do
I guess
audio
podcast that was fun. Well, hey, thanks for Patreon people for joining us for this exclusive Patreon chat with Chris Pirillo.
And it was good.
It was great.
That's how we get warmed up here. We get warmed up.
Yeah, we got a little
warm up
so in our chat, we've of course got Chris Hilsey. We have our ever-present deluxe repaint Wilbon, who we love because he's a cool VIP. We have a Bendejo. Again, Ben, one of my favorite names to repeat on air. I love it. I'm not even being sarcastic. And we probably have more, but no one else is chatting. We do have more. I can see the number up there. We have more. Feel free to chat. Ask Chris questions if you want to. We'll incorporate you into the show.
Chance.
But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you watching either live or the recorded Patreon version after this. Thank you for being Patreon members.
Absolutely. From the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate it. Also, podcast episode title,
Oh yeah.
Did you land on anything? Oh, should we
Nope.
do the Pirillo archives?
Well, I was thinking maybe I could mix like a Chris thing in there, but I just couldn't think of anything beforehand. So I was hoping something would happen.
Okay, how about
during?
way shorter than Black Series? Because I'm like only 5 feet tall. Like I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not 5. Sorry, I just lost 6 inches. I'm 5'5", so like way
What?
shorter
I was about to
than
say.
Black Series.
All right.
Yeah.
Aren't you a little short for a Black Series collector? That's
That's so long, but I like it.
I do like it.
A little short for a Black Series.
well, because we'll get into it. Like my Black Series, my journey with Black Series.
Yeah, and I was hoping.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Anyways, we're gonna jump you out, and we're gonna start the full ep. Hey Zach,
hello Mike.
You ready for another fine episode of Black Series Cantina?
I am always ready for an episode of Black Series Cantina. The 2 weeks in between our recording, it's miserable because I'm like, I feel like I need to be on the pod talking about Black Series figures right at this moment. And now, right at this moment, we're here for episode 72. So welcome everybody listening to the playback on the audio. And Mike, you ready to jump into it?
Let's do it. Let's rock. Let's roll.
So
rock
if you
or
want to
roll, but not both. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Just either
one or
or.
the other. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So if you want to join us live whenever we talk to guests that we're going to have on now, you can join us on Patreon. We have multiple tiers. We have a tier for every budget. Our VIP spot is closed. That opened last episode. So our final VIP spot closed, and we just did a VIP hangout with our Patreon VIPs last week. So that one's taken, but you can still join our $11.38 tier, which you can join us live. The $5 tier gets you access to the video, or we have just a normal support tier for $2. So a tier for every budget if you want to join, if you support the podcast. That way we greatly appreciate it, but you can help us in other ways.
Yeah.
Leave a like, leave a review. That helps us as an audio podcast as well.
And thanks to everyone. We are powered by Patreon. We won't sell out. We did get we got an email last night saying, "Hey, how about a little kickback for some airtime?" And we, like everyone else, are ghosting them because I'm a millennial and ghosting is easier than responding. Take the hint.
That is facts.
I don't even want to say the company because I don't want to give them airtime.
Yeah, we can't
even say
no free advertisement.
That's right.
Yeah, no.
Anyways,
free advertisement.
Let's bring on our guest, shall we?
Let's do it.
No, I wasn't playing with my action figures.
Yes, you were. We could see you down there. You were smaller, but I saw you. You were locker gnome sized.
I was 3.5 inches. That's what I was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to the show, Chris Pirillo, and that rhymed, and I liked it.
A man who needs no introduction.
What you drinking there? What IPA?
This is an Imperial
Uh-huh.
IPA.
Dun, dun. You think that's all the Emperor drinks,
Pretty
or
much.
Darth Vader? Yeah,
It's got to be.
What else?
yeah.
Duh.
Is it fancy enough for Palpatine though?
Oh, I would maybe he'd do a double IPA.
IPAs are not really fancy.
Yeah,
They're
I feel like Palpatine
Depends on
seems
where you
more
are.
of- Palpatine seems more of like he'd be drinking,
Would be like a
wine
Pilsner?
or like a. He seems more of like
spritzer, like a
a fancy.
He's got a wine cooler.
with an umbrella, like the toothpick and the umbrella. Like, man,
Palpatine, where'd you get Zima from? They don't even make that anymore.
do not make me go get my Palpatine tunic. Do not.
Oh yeah, that's something that Chris does on his show.
I feel like you need to
yeah.
at some point.
At some point. No, you don't have to.
Oh, he's getting up.
He's
He
doing
just
it.
got up.
I love this. I love this episode already.
Wait, hang
So,
on.
anyways, yeah, don't. I was to see you put it on. Ruins the illusion.
Out, can't you?
Yeah, I can edit it out. I won't edit it out at all.
No, not at all. So this is perfect for. We have the Emperor himself.
We have
joining
the
us
Emperor.
on the podcast.
Yes, I'm here. And no, this beer is disgusting.
Emperor, Mr. Emperor, sir, what do you like to drink when you're unwinding after a day of emperring?
Blood.
It's a vampire.
Wasn't expecting that, were you?
No, I was not.
You know this is made of wool, right?
I mean, do you have to like dry clean it?
Yeah, no. Why would I dry clean it?
I
I
don't.
smell like Sith.
Is that
He's
just
got to keep the fragrance on there,
He's
the
gotta
dark
keep-
side
yeah.
fragrance on there.
I'm rubbing it off here. Listen, it's just sweaty. That's all.
Well, that's what I was wondering. It's got to be sweaty.
Yes. I'm channeling my Lego accent. This is the Palpatine Lego accent.
I thought it sounded
Family
kinda
Guy
murky.
version.
Yes. Yeah. And no, I do have I have the Stewie Family Guy football shaped bobblehead over there in my collection.
It's just off screen in front of the Jedi,
It's
the
over-
collection
yes,
room.
enjoying itself over there, just off camera.
What question have you always wanted to ask the Emperor, Zach?
Mr. Palpatine Emperor, sir, do you collect 3.75 inch or 6 inch Black Series?
Why do you got to do this to me? Why do you put me on the spot like this?
Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Jar Jar Binks. He's a Sith Lord, and that's what no one knew that. And then this YouTuber out of the blue, back in 2015, comes along, spills the beans, and then says exactly what the plan was. Yes, the plans that were stolen, if you will.
Well, and now Lego is making that canon.
Yes, pretty much. Let's just it's official. Jar Jar is a Sith.
That's right.
Yes, he's my favorite.
Was he your apprentice or were you his apprentice?
He was a useful idiot. I will say that. No, see, that's a term.
Well, you're both. Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Bing it. If you're the
Bing.
person who uses Bing,
Can I use Alta Vista?
use Dogpile for all I care. That'll take you back. I'm Gen X. I don't know what Gen I am.
I'll go ask Jeeves.
Yes. That's Lycos. I can do this all night long.
Excite.
Oh.
The Emperor's going to lose.
What else you got? What else you got?
You're frying my brain.
You got to call for help. You see what
Okay, I'm going to bring Chris back because I'm
Okay.
starting to-
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show,
Yes,
Mr.
man.
Palpatine.
Welcome.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, another reason to join the Patreon so you can watch the beauty of the Emperor joining us live.
That bastard
Oh, hey.
sneaks in.
He hid you in a closet.
Yeah, you just
Somewhere.
missed Emperor Palpatine.
I had to hit the restroom. He always seems to know when to sit down.
Yeah. So weird. But, it was nice. He told us a lot about how your room smells.
Yes, it does smell like Sith. It is. I have Darth Vader cologne. That is true. It's
I wonder what
okay.
that smells like.
Yeah, I feel like I need to pick that up.
There's
I feel like
three
I
or
need to get
four
that.
of them. One of them is really good. It's very musky, but not Elon musky. Thank God,
Well, it smelled like failed capital.
Yeah. Oh man, it smells like X, and that's not a good thing. Smells like my ex. No, there's like 3 or 4 that have been released over the years. I got one a long time ago, and it was good. Oh, Lance Peter Luke grew up watching me twice. I love Lance Peter Luke's creations.
There you go.
Lane Sweeter Luke is he's one of the best. He's the GOAT for sure.
He's part of our shill squad. We're on a little fun text thread there. Yeah.
So speaking of recent pickups, you want to jump into fine additions for?
Yeah.
Fine addition to my collection.
Gotta have it.
Look, I added text to it this time.
I see that.
Our logo.
So the people watching can see it, and the people listening will have no difference.
Exactly.
I like it.
But
Who wants to go first? Me?
I guess
You made me-
I guess it
you
made
made
you
me
big real quick. It
You made me big.
So
I'm big, so I'll go.
that means you're
Call
up
me
first.
Biggs Dark later.
I'm the shortest, guaranteed.
Well, you know what? We'll make the guest go first. We'll make
Why you gotta-
the guest go.
Fine.
No.
Okay. Okay.
We have a height restriction here.
You must. I just got this from
my God.
Amazon. I realized not Black Series. Yes, I'm a.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, this just came in. Cannot wait to showcase and open Ahsoka's droids. I honestly,
I think that this is a cool pack. I honestly
It's a
thought
cool
about
set.
getting this. Yeah.
I'm so happy. And then behind, I've already opened the previous vintage collection wave, which includes Professor Hu Yang, which I'm very happy about. And I apologize that the light is not perfect if I blend it out.
No
Very
worries.
happy with that one. Although I did pick up the Black Series Professor Hu Yang at Target when they were running like 20% off. It was a few weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Mhm.
So I got that at a discount. I was very happy because I don't
It won't
normally
stand.
pick the Black
Yeah,
Series.
mine always falls.
I 3D print all the time, much like Lance Peter Luke, and recently came upon a model. This is a Flexi. They call them Flexies. And you saw it was freestanding. So if I wanted to, I could print it in two colors, but it freestands, which
That's
is
so cool.
unreal because on the back it's flat. It's
Yeah.
printed. It's printed flat. I just did it monochromatically, like a Sith Trooper or a Crimson Trooper. I also have been recently printing. There's a user by the name of Big Bricks on fangs.com, and he's been releasing a series of. You have General Grievous. He actually released a General Grievous model. This is 3D printed. Took about a day, and no parts here were used multicolor, meaning parts snapped together. No glues or screws. This
Nice.
all snapped together, and yes, it's fully articulated.
That's so cool.
It is incredible. The work that Big Bricks, that's his handle, has been doing. He's been releasing mostly Star Wars models, and then he's going to be starting with some Marvel models and some just regular Lego models. So I just recently printed those. I also this past week printed, just the past few days, a Queel figure. Now this is like a Playmobil scale, and I'm sorry I can't get too much closer. There we go. I guess I can.
Perfect.
This is a Playmobil scale. Yes, this figure does. Sorry, let me put it in front of my face. It does articulate. I used the Bamboo X1 Carbon for multicolor prints, and then it snaps together after everything's said and done. So Play Action Toys is the name of this modeler, and he releases usually a new Star Wars figure once a week or so. And so
That's fun because it's like, hey, here's a new toy, and then you get to make it, like you get to print it. Yeah.
You know, however year old me when I was buying Star Wars figures at 99 cents a piece, the vintage Kenner figures, would have been beside himself thinking at 50 years old, literally 50 years old, I'm 3D printing a new Star Wars figure every week. And for the most part, like these are good. I mean, you can tell it's 3D printed. It's not super high quality. The plastic's fine. The details could probably be better, but just getting it done is part of the process. So I usually print a few of them at a time. So every week now I'm pretty much printing today at this point, printing a new Lego minifigure because I'm an adult fan of Lego as well, and AFOL, and then typically a new Star Wars figure, the 4-inch scale, or like if Playmobil made Star Wars figures, that's the style that this guy goes with. So those are.
Wouldn't that be more of a macro figure than a minifigure?
This one, I think macro is or mega or maxi.
Mega, maxi figure. Maxi big the force.
Oh, yeah, and I've done a banana minifigure for scale.
Oh, that's fun.
Pictures because you can't tell when I'm taking pictures of these in the wild to tell the scale because they look.
It looks so good, honestly. I
cannot rave enough about either one of these two artists in the models that they make in
look really
as
good.
easy as they are to actually do. So I'm usually making figures probably more than I'm purchasing. And we can get into that again, but it's filled 3D printing has filled a pretty big gap for me as much as I am buying things as well. But 3D printing has just been an amazing hobby to get into as a collector.
Oh yeah, for sure. Speaking of 3D printing, I'll go ahead and jump in since I can jump off the 3D printing thread there. So like me,
just leave me out. That's fine. I get it. No, I get it.
Well, I mean, you got to get your print.
I said I get it.
You got to get it. So like me, 3D printing has filled a gap because as a Black Series collector, we don't get many, world building items in Black Series. It's been a long time. So Lane 3D Luke, thankfully, who's in our chat right now, he provides the files for us. So we have to pay for them, of course, but I printed, this isn't a Lane 3D Luke file. I got to say, this is a Charvy's 3D file. I printed this Emperor hologram finally for my Darth Vader throne set.
Ooh.
And it actually looks pretty cool with the light. With
it does. It looks real good.
But up on the shelf, I don't think the light's going to hit it very much.
There was one picture you took where, like, I thought it was like a drawing or something, where it actually looked like a movie, like a picture. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, I think it might have been that when I had it on portrait mode and had the focus on
Yeah.
Vader in the back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it like the layer lines work on it because it makes it
does.
look like a hologram.
Yeah. Because that's how it looks on screen. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's so cool. So, and some of the face detail got a little lost with the blue translucent filament. But since I'm going to be looking at the back of it, on display with the Vader throne facing, me on the shelf, the face detail doesn't matter too much. So I think this is still pretty cool.
Is that a Lance Peter Luke model?
No, this is a Charvy's 3D file.
I haven't seen that. I was gonna say I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it came in. He didn't really advertise this part whenever he posted it. He just basically showed the Vader throne, which I have right here in reach. Which he basically just showed this, but in.
Oh, I thought you painted your Vader throne.
I reprinted it. I have the bamboo P1P now, and you can reprint it in like 4 hours. It takes no time.
I was talking about your failed painting.
You know what? Let me show that because I actually showed on Wilbon's stream when I was on there on Monday the picture, and it actually came up pretty solid when they were just showing it on my phone. I'm not gonna worry about sharing the screen.
I like what Chris Hill said. 3D printing actually makes it a hobby as opposed to buyer of crap. It's beautiful crap that I love collecting, but there's something to be said about pointing and saying, "Yeah, I printed that. I made that."
Yeah, it's awesome. And so I tried to get the marble look on the throne by buying the Rust-Oleum, marble spray paint, and it did not work at all. It went pretty.
Looks like you left it on the shelf too long, and a spider.
Or you got way too excited over it.
Or that.
Yeah, I think it's
Like, calm down.
It's just it's so good.
Yeah, so that it couldn't have gone worse, but luckily, with the bamboo P1P, it takes no time to reprint.
Kiadi Mundi found your
our,
print.
our Patreon members will get that. And speaking of Kiadi Mundi, no, I'm not done with 3D prints. I have one more. I printed the E-Web. This was another Charvy's 3D print, so this was it's pretty exciting to get something like this because in Black Series, we don't get cool stuff like this anymore.
It's true.
And then I'll show you how it scales with the Snow Trooper. Whenever I was putting this on the shelf, I realized I only have one Snow Trooper, and I need to change that.
I don't know. Snowtroopers are kind of dumb.
So here's how it scales. This is a Black Series Snow Trooper. So it's a little bigger, but I kind of like it, how it's more of a cannon.
It's a super E-Web.
Yeah, it's like a super E-Web. And also, not only is it just an E-Web, it actually rotates. So full
Nice.
360 rotation, which is pretty cool. So, and then this is actually just an old charger cable. I just super glued it into each end. He has an option to 3D print one, but I was like, I don't want to print that much of the ports when I can just super glue a cable in there and have it stay pretty good.
Plus, you got flexibility without.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks really good.
Yeah, so that turned out pretty awesome.
It's a Madam E-Web.
A Madam E-Web, yeah, there we go. And then my Black Series figure, my lone Black Series fine edition for this episode is Jedi Master Kiadi Mundi himself. Honestly, this is definitely the best Jedi figure in the line now. I think it surpasses the Return of the Jedi Luke. Just all the modern articulation, the sculpting on the face, the boot swivel, and the butters are so good. And I like how soft the plastic is up here because it doesn't get in the way of the butterfly joints. So that's really nice. The ball jointed wrists is amazing. So I think this kind of set a new bar for modern Black Series Jedi. So any new Jedi created, this is like the bar. Kiadi Mundi. Unfortunately, my droidicas are going to be here tomorrow. So
Womp womp.
I know I gotta wait another 2 weeks to fine edition those. But Mike, I'll hand the fine edition reins over to you now.
Sure. I'm gonna start non-Star Wars. I got things I'm throwing around. I got the Figura Obscura from Four Horsemen. This is the Gods of Egypt line. This is Bastet.
Dude.
And I haven't opened her yet because I've been too busy with work stuff. But she comes with just an absolute ton of antiquities, is what they call it, because it's literally like stuff they found in tombs that they just sort of recreated. And then this is Anubis, same kind of thing. What I like about them is they have like actual animal heads, but then they all come with a head that's like a statue where it's kind of crumbly and like cracked
Oh,
and stuff.
sick.
So it's like a statue. I like it. The only thing I didn't like is they force you to buy both. Like you can't just choose. Like I want Anubis or I want Bastet. They're like, that's a 2-pack. You buy them both or you don't buy them at all. It's like, fine, I guess. It's like $120, but I like this line. I like all my figure obscures like the Jacob Marley and the Mask of the Red Death, and I got the Headless Horseman here. Like it's fun because I like books, I like stories, and it's neat. And let's see.
See, if I ever went to Egypt and like was it a tourist and they were selling this, that, or the none of those are the only things I'd want. Like
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah. Give me that cool Bastet. Yeah, give me that Anubis. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And then I did get a shipment from Toy Snowman, friend of the show, where I got another Phase 1 Clone Trooper.
That was a
and
Walmart
then-
Walgreens exclusive.
No, this is the new one. This is on the new body. And then with that, I did get my Chiati Mundi, which I've already reviewed. If you want to go on my website or on my YouTube page and watch my review of it, you can go see it. I am giveaway soon on my channel. It's going to be for Patreon, not Patreon, for channel members. If you want to win this, there'll be a video Friday.
Oh, nice.
About how to do that.
Tease. Good
Little
tease.
tease. Which, you know what? Most of the people are going to be listening to this on Saturday. So unless you're a Patreon member, by the time you're listening to this, it'll already be up. So go check the video out. But then last but not least, I did get this absolute monster of a figure.
It's so big.
This is so big. Where did this go? It is 2. It's the width of 2 Black Series boxes.
It looks like it's more like 2.5.
Or 2.5.
It looks bigger than 2. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also have one up. So I got 2 of them. And I am working on my review
The
of
Droideka looks so
the
good.
Droideka. It looks real good. Do I wish it had something like a blast effect or some kind of bubble? Yeah, I do. But it's still pretty cool. Like it's still good.
You might be able. Well, with the right filament, you could probably 3D print like in that same blue. Yeah.
Talk about-
yeah.
Well,
It doesn't
so
work. We'll talk about
we
it.
actually-
Talk about it now. Yeah.
yeah, we tried. I 3D printed this bubble with the translucent blue filament that I did the Emperor on, and
Too translucent.
I did it with one wall, so it's so thin, but it is too translucent to where it loses. Like you can't see. I'll put Candy in there.
Or not
You just
enough.
can't see it
It's-
at all.
yeah.
So it didn't really work out. But
Unfortunately, it was a good idea.
but-
Yeah, it was a good idea.
Well, maybe
gonna wear it as a hat
maybe
now.
here's what you can do.
Where's
If
the hat?
you
I can
model
do
it
that.
such that you carve away part of the wall, you give the illusion of the bubble around it, but just have it like it's a backdrop.
So it's like a backdrop.
Kind of like the
That's not a-
illusion of it. That way you can see.
That's
through
not a
it.
bad idea.
You know,
Okay.
just the
I hope Luke's in the
Yeah.
chat.
You know, that's how I would imagine that to get around that problem.
Paint
Yeah.
a balloon with clear resin and pop the balloon is what
Yeah.
Lance Peter Luke said.
There you go.
Interesting. Yeah, some good ideas. I'll just wear it as a
what-
hat. That's no worries.
Full of ideas. And now Zach has a bubble hat.
It's like I like how the light makes it look like it's glowing.
It makes it look like you have an idea, is what it makes you look like. Yes.
I hope that's the thumbnail for this video or this podcast.
I will make it that. I will make it legal.
No, it's got to be the Emperor. Whenever we had the Emperor on.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably actually a better.
Well, actually,
yeah.
so we have.
I
the
can
Emperor,
cut it
and then
out.
now
I'll
we have
cut
those-
you out. I can make a thumbnail with just that. Like,
Yeah, because we have the Emperor and the guys that wear the weird stuff on the head. They look all
true.
weird. His little dignities.
dignitaries.
Dignitaries?
His dignities.
His dignity, the dignitaries. So now, last episode we started doing a new segment on the show for listener emails. So we did get 3 listener emails, so we'll do those real quick. And I think that a couple of these might be good for the guests that we have on. So from Commander Cook, we have, what was your favorite piece of Star Wars that you owned as a child, whether it was a toy, prop, or collectible? And I have mine here. Actually. This is my Anakin Skywalker lightsaber as a kid, and my favorite part about it, whenever I extend it, you can still see all like the battle marks from like fighting with my cousins and friends and elementary school and all that around the time. So this is like living childhood memories for me. So this is by far my favorite thing that I at least still have. I mean, whenever I was a kid, I really loved. It was like the collector series, Han Solo and Tauntaun, like the really giant one,
the big 12-inch one.
It's like the really big one. I really loved that thing. I really liked the Darth Vader and Anakin, the figure where you could change it, like you like flip the head and he's like both of them. So that was cool. But yeah, definitely this lightsaber, I would say.
Chris went to go get something. I want to know what he went
I
to
did.
Yeah.
Because I have it on hand, and it wasn't always on hand. But I went back and so when I was younger, I'm Gen X, grew up with the Kenner line, saw the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, in theaters before it was known as A New Hope. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I have maybe 1 or 2 memories from actually seeing it. Didn't start collecting right away. And Empire was either about to be released or it was released, and there was an advertisement in the newspaper at a toy store saying, hey, 99-cent Star Wars figures. And I just so happened to have, a couple of dollars burning a hole in my pocket, some allowance or gift money, whatever. And I said, I wanted to go to the toy store because I saw in the circular, one of the characters that they were advertising, the old black and white, if you remember the newspaper, the way I remember the way these circulars used to be. And there it was on an end cap, this wall of Star Wars figures. And the only one I wanted was the AT-AT driver. And I say AT-AT because Kenner said AT-AT. So this is legit the first Star Wars, first figure, first toy I remember really having and loving. And certainly the first thing that kicked off my collection. And yeah, that's its original accessory, as in,
wow.
Despite having survived box after box transfer after whatever in my childhood, this is my first Star Wars toy. I still have in decent condition, all things considered. But I went back and recollected my printer is singing there. I went back and recollected from scratch C9, C10 condition, loose Kenner figures. And that's when I pulled them out and I said, I wonder if I still have the accessory, and I found it too. So yeah, this is my go-to answer. It's easy to say. It's this one right here.
Yeah, it's a good piece. Priceless. For sure. Mine's probably the Hammerhead I got as a kid from my grandpa. I didn't know who it was. I didn't even know that it was a Star Wars figure. I thought it was E.T. when he gave it to me, honestly, because I was a stupid little kid and it kind of looks like E.T. But I did, once I got into Star Wars and I realized what I had, I really liked it. But then I think the thing I liked a little bit more was back in 95 when they they started doing the Star Wars Power of the Force 2 stuff. And I had the mail away Han Solo. It was a Kellogg's exclusive. And I thought it was so cool that I had something you had to mail away for. You couldn't just go to the store and buy it. Like, it was this cool exclusive figure that no one else had, even though it was kind of terrible and it didn't come with a weapon. And he was molded in like a weird stance, but like I still thought it was pretty cool. So
ironically, Hammerhead was the last Star Wars, like, cause I had the full vintage collection as a kid, minus Yak Face, because I didn't know it existed, and minus Blue Snags, which I only saw once. I thought was an anomaly. I had to trade for every figure if I didn't buy it on the shelf. Like, Hammerhead was the last vintage figure I needed as a kid.
Oh man,
to complete my collection. And I had the last 17 for whatever it's worth. As a kid, I was very lucky, but I could never, ever find a Hammerhead. That was
I traded my Hammerhead in high school for a Little Caesars pizza.
Oh God! What? That's horrible.
I didn't know how much it was worth.
That's a villain's origin story.
I didn't know how much it was worth or anything. It was just an old Star Wars toy. I didn't
grab first. I'm grabbing this figure. You're saying, oh my God! Not even.
Wait.
if they offered me all of Little Caesars?
Well, that was just the little personal pan pizzas they had for my lunch.
No, forget it. If they offered me Little Caesars, the business, hey,
The entire global company.
business.
for your first Star Wars figure, I'd say, have at it, dude. Nah, dude. Son.
So back then, like right now, Little Caesars pizza is like $6. So back then, it had to be like 90 cents for a pizza.
Oh my God.
They were $2, maybe I think $2.50. It was a little personal pan, Little Caesars pizza. They get stacks of every Friday at lunch, and it was Pizza Friday, and I really wanted a pizza.
I could be starving to death. I could be.
Mike, answer the question.
He'd make that trade.
Would you do that trade again today?
I mean, no. Just if I had I don't even collect vintage Star Wars or that scale or anything.
Mike,
but if I still had it, I'd keep it for posterity. I wouldn't.
Mike,
I wouldn't do that.
I have an empty root beer can.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to trade you for your Droideka right there. Yes or no?
Listen.
That's a good deal.
High school Mike did not have a fully formed brain, okay? None of us did in high school. We made dumb choices all the time.
Oh, I still make dumb choices.
Okay, but I had a better excuse when I was in high school.
Yeah, I'd say that. Okay, that's the eliminating factor there.
Oh man, what a story. All right, next listener email is a question specifically for you, Mike. Mark Karp asks, I have a question for you, Mike.
Deal on the history of trade deals.
Since becoming a non-completionist, how many figures have you passed on also of the show?
Yeah, I even emailed him and said that was a great question and I had to count. And then we got to the setup for the show and I realized that I didn't count. So I counted. Now, this isn't counting repacks. So things like the archive and like the 40th anniversary repacks where like I already have them. They're just in a different box. I'm not counting those. But there have been, I think I counted 17 figures and releases that I have not bought since 2023. The main ones are like the carbonized and stuff, like and even what the carbonized 2-pack, the first one that made me not a completionist anymore, the TIE Fighter pilot and
the
Royal
Emperor's
Guard.
Royal Guard. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Amazon just had those on sale too.
Well, Hasbro Outlet has it half off. It's like $30.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm like, I can't buy it because, like, of the principle of the thing. Like, this is the thing that was like, I'm not buying this out of principle. Like, I'm no longer a completionist, and I feel like buying it kind of ruins that. Like, I'm going back and actually buying it, but and I just don't need it. And most of the other passes have been like,
need. It's not about need.
Well, no, okay. What I mean by need, it's relative. Like, right. Does it fit in my collection?
Right.
Like, there are things I need, quote unquote, for my collection because there's a space for it.
Little Caesars.
A Little Caesars pizza. I used to have back in the. I won't. But you also don't understand the 90s. Especially around
the 90s.
I know you do.
Never in my
exact
imagination.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Figure for pizza.
That's like me. Could you imagine if I traded an Episode 3 Anakin figure for a pizza back in the day?
Well, hold on. You don't. I mean, I guess Hammerhead is probably my favorite. But no. Back in the 90s, when like Special Edition was coming out, they put Star Wars on everything.
Yeah.
So I had like Lay's potato chip bags stapled to, I cleaned them. So it's not like just like grease, like chip grease all over my walls. But like I would cut the fronts off and staple those to my wall because they had Star Wars on it. Same thing, like I got they had Taco Bell wrappers because they had a promotion with Taco Bell. And I would just get like I wouldn't like get a taco used wrapper, but like I would just ask for like a wrapper and they would give it to me and I put that on my wall because they just had stuff and I would paper my wall with all this food related Star Wars material. It was a lot of food related Star Wars material. But yeah, I mean, I just really like Little Caesars pizza. Okay. There's one right around the corner from my house and I almost went there today.
Is that exactly why you purchased that house?
Yes.
Or
yes, it's actually why I moved there. It's because it was right around the corner for.
So it's interesting. You talk about the not being a
couldn't get that information.
I didn't start with Black Series. Like when they first released it, because my scale, I grew up Kenner, so I'm all 5 POA for life, 3.75 inch. Didn't even get into the vintage collection for a long while. So I had a dark times period, much like we talk about as adult fans of Lego. There was a dark times. But I didn't really latch onto the Black Series until The Force Awakens, and then they had the black box with the red side, and then I was like, it's a pretty good price. I kind of like that. This is kind of neat. I've never collected that scale before. It's a little beyond my favorite scale, but I did start collecting Black Series figures and stopped when it was a Gaming Greats from GameStop, and it was a repaint of a battle droid, and I'm like, here's the problem. The cost was like $30. I'm like, I can't justify it, and that's when I had to stop, basically cold turkey, and I mean cold turkey. Like, I just quit. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I just know. And so now I will buy piecemeal. So I'm one of those bozos who's happy with the repaints of the holiday stuff. I can't get enough of. I just love that. That's just so cool. And so I have those. And then the carbonized, I'm not going to chase unless it comes with an exclusive. So like the credit collection, I did chase down because it came with the credits.
Yeah, I've got a full credit collection right up there.
That's what I'm saying. So that was cool. The bounty collection, I only got one of them. It was the Bo-Katan that was on sale, like half off at Target. But I decided, I was like, it's not unique enough. It wasn't. Yeah. So like, it's got to come with something that's unique, or it's got to be a really good price. But yeah, that was the thing that broke my Black Series purchasing. Like, and I will say I saved a lot of money, and I saved a lot of space, because now. Sure.
Here's what you got to do, Chris. You got to get the Amazon exclusive Darth Vader holocom, and then 3D print the Lane Speeder Luke set, where you can put the holocom in the table, and then it looks like he's
which
projecting.
holocom? Darth Vader. Wait, did I miss it?
There's a Darth Vader holocom coming out. It's Amazon exclusive.
Okay, I haven't seen that then. Yeah. Because I collect.
I can link it to you in the private chat just so you can look at it.
I'm surrounded by a lot of Darth Vaders.
Zach, what was the figure that made you sell your collection?
It wasn't
because you did. You collected, and then you were like, I don't want this anymore. So, like, around what time? I guess what was the last one you bought?
Oh, I just accidentally put that in the main chat. I'll do the private chat.
God,
let me hang on. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So when I got out of collecting, it wasn't a specific figure that triggered it, but the last wave I bought was that Lando, Royal Guard, Qui-Gon, right? That, and then the Gree, the Toys R Us exclusive Gree around that time. So I had, like, those were the last couple I got. But I was that was right after I graduated college. I moved into my old room in my dad's just until me and my girlfriend found an apartment space. And so I just didn't have room to store the stuff. And then we moved into an apartment, and I still didn't have room for all the Black Series figures that I had amassed. And I was like, all right, well, I'm actually making a little more money now. Maybe I can try Hot Toys. And then I bought 2 of those things, and it was like, nope, this kind of, I can't justify this. So then I just kind of was in a period where I wasn't collecting Star Wars at all, just because I didn't have the space. And then we, bought this house, and I had my own room down here to do whatever I want with. And then that's right after Photoreal happened. And I was like, yep, I think they're pulling me back in with the Photoreal, the updated faces and all that. So that's what pulled me back in and got me out, pulled me back in. So, but yeah, that wave with Qui-Gon, Lando, Royal Guard, and all of them, I remember getting that wave. And then that was kind of my last one. And then we did have another question from Graydon. So he says, hi again. Do you think Black Series will ever release a Garendon? The fact that random aliens will drop and background characters, if surprised they haven't released him. He's in A New Hope, and he looks just so cool. And Hats was perfect. They're perfect with aliens. I think they can nail his head sculpt. Yeah.
Do you know what I just found out about Garendon? John Wayne voiced him.
Really?
Shut up.
Yeah. They took audio recordings. Ben Burt, when he was doing sound design or whatever, took audio recordings of John Wayne and messed with them.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
It's weird. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, voiced in quotes. Yeah,
I'd say eventually we might get it, but since it's just kind of a background alien. You know, he's only in there for a couple seconds eventually, but I wouldn't hold.
I mean, he sells out the Falcon. I feel like he's pretty important.
No, that's
Long
Russell
snoot.
Leia. No, wait, no, sells. Oh, he sells.
No. That's Gurrendan's long snoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah, Gurren, yeah, yeah.
He sells it out. I was thinking he sold the Luke sold his land speeder too. I was thinking.
Oh, that's who. Yeah, that's who Luke sold his land speeder to. Yeah.
If we can get Momon Don in the Black Series, I think we can get Gurrendan.
Yeah. I think it's only a matter of time before we get Gurrendan. He's a cool looking figure. He's got a cool design. Now, here's the question: would you want him soft goods or rubber?
Soft goods all the way.
Soft goods all the way for Chris.
Yeah, I'd probably go soft goods. Honestly,
I would
Kinda
want
Royal Guard.
rubber head, soft goods cloak. And I know Luke's answer is rubber all the way.
Yeah,
know
Luke
that.
hates soft goods.
Luke hates soft goods.
Yeah.
Hates it.
But yeah, we need the long snoot for sure. If you want to send us a voicemail, if you want to send us an email,
You can send us a voicemail. I'm not giving you my phone number, but if you can find it, maybe you can call the A-team. Yeah.
blackseriescantina@gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email, and we'll do it on the next podcast. But now we have some news to get to, a little Black Series stuff. So London Comic-Con, London Comic-Con was recently. We didn't get any there was no panel for it or anything, but a couple pages.
I thought we would. I thought we were going to get some reveals because
Yeah,
in their display they had holes, and usually they only do holes if it's stuff they haven't revealed yet.
I know. And then it ended up being just stuff we've seen already.
Yep, it was just stuff we've seen already.
But if you want pictures, if you just want to see pictures of, what they show, and I'm sure most people have seen them, but Sith Lord 229, In Demand Toys, and then Hero.collections on Instagram, go to those pages and you can see in-hand photos of like the Acolyte Wave and stuff like that. Darth Sidious in hand and Momon Adon in hand. It was pretty cool. Some reissues last week. We had the Ahsoka Season 7, Rebels Hera and Sabine reissued. And then tomorrow, Bosk, 000, and BT1 are going to be reissued on fan channel sites that do not include Amazon. So it seems like that French website that lines up directly with the Yak Faces list of the re-releases is accurate, because so far it's nailed every date. So then it'll be those three, and then the next week will be what's her name? Afra, Hunter, and Crosshair.
I think that's going to be the big popular one right there.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next one is going to be Plo Koon and Cal Kestis, and then the Incinerator Trooper helmet, and then on the final one is going to be the Halloween edition Clone Trooper.
It's so weird. Why?
Is so weird.
Why? I mean, don't get me wrong.
July,
I love it.
Of all times, July.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
Well, wait a minute.
Why?
But that's a re-release.
They're all re-releases.
Yeah, they're all just straight reissues, same original packaging and all that. Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to do those. Like, for instance, BT1, a great figure, very popular on the aftermarket because it goes with 000 and Dr. Afra. But it's also now the old style body. And like, I would rather than make a
just
new
remake
BT1
it.
at this. Yeah.
Yeah, put it on that new body, the brand new in scale astromech.
The one that's in scale, exactly.
But so I think I'm in on him, though. Definitely, I need to re-get Bosk. I never picked him up. Whenever I was getting back into collecting Black Series, he was still on the pegs in the original archive release, and then I just kind of missed him. I saw him at FYE for like $40. I was like, I'm not paying that. And then it just kind of, the secondary market price went up, and I never picked it up. So I'm glad he's getting re-released. And most of all of these, I mean, it's good for collectors who've kind of missed out. So be on the lookout for those. Those are dropping every Thursday, which is pretty.
I ordered Hera because my Hera has a weird, like, big old paint splotch on the back of her head, and it's dumb because it's like on the back of her head. I never see it, but I know it's there. So I want one that doesn't. I was always okay with it because Hera was she's pretty expensive. But
Yeah, and I picked up the season 7 Ahsoka just so I can hopefully get that signed by Ashley Eckstein.
yeah, you want a signature on that. Yeah.
If she ever goes to ICCC or another con that I go to one day.
So does this kind of line up with that Nerdzoic list, or is it coincidental?
There's some of these. I think Nerdzoic listed a lot that are not on this list or
Sure.
Face's list.
Like
the
I know
Shadow.
Darth Nihilus was on his list, which is one I want to get again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think some of these, I don't know if all of these are on Nerdzoic's list. I have his list still in my, so I can try to pull it up. Let's see, the Nerdzoic report. All right.
For those that don't know what I'm talking about, and maybe Chris, sometime was it last year, a YouTuber / small toy store owner, Nerdzoic, released a list of figures that were going to be like rerun or re-released, all in their original packaging, and he said for original prices too, which so far hasn't happened. But everyone called him like a liar because it was a little far fetched. And then he got in trouble from like Hasbro and took everything down, stuff like that. We had him on the show. We talked about it. But it's been a while, and everyone just kind of wrote it off as like he either he was lying or he had wrong information, because like some things had been released, like helmets and stuff, but none of the figures had been released. And now we have figures being released in their original packaging.
Yeah, so
Wait,
Shadow Squadron.
Yes, this is coming back.
No. So
We don't know yet.
This is a rumor.
We don't know. Yeah.
This is a rumor.
I wanted this so badly and I couldn't. It was unobtainium. It was complete unobtainium for the figure.
It's pretty pretty pricey for sure.
Yeah, it's just Shadow Squadron would be really good. The Speeder Bike and Scout Trooper with the Child would be a cool re-release. So this happened, but they put it in a new box.
It's in a new box, yeah, but it is getting re-released.
Yep.
And by this, it's Emperor Palpatine for the people
and the throne
listening. Yeah, and the throne.
And then so Bosk right here.
Bosk is getting re-released, but no Anakin or Darth. Although we're getting a new Darth Maul, and potentially we've heard rumors of a new Anakin.
Yeah.
So those could have been taken off because of that, because we don't need.
Yeah. Also, Yak did say that this Darth Maul body has been retired.
Mm-hmm.
Since we have that new one. So
yep.
I really hope they don't release these two figures. Jesus Christ.
But it also means we probably won't get a new Bosk, which kind of sucks. But it's also
yeah. He feels like he's background enough and stationary enough, I guess. But that figure does kind of suck, articulation wise. Anyways, visually he's great. Both of these, Dr. Aphra and Turbo Zero, are getting re-released in their original package.
And their packaging. Yep.
And, none of these are on the list. That's the Mandalorian Super Commando, Jango Fett, the game.
At least not yet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Mandalorian Loyalist. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi got archived internationally, which we'll talk about here soon.
And he's going to be in that 3-pack.
And he's getting released in the 3-pack. And then Clone Commander Obi-Wan and Cal Kestis are on Nerdzoic's list that have not been, that are not on the French website. And then Season 7 Ahsoka is on the French website. Plo Koon is on the French website. And then Commander Fox, we know, has already been re-released, who's on the French website. But Darth Nihilus is the one on this slide that is not on the Yakface list or the French website. Neither of these Astromech 3-packs.
I hope they don't now. These don't make sense.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want the old Astromechs to be re-released. I want new.
Yeah, I want new Astromech. I'll buy literally those exact same 3-packs. If they put them on the new body, it would be a no-brainer.
Yeah, like I'll happily rebuy the Dagobah R2.
Yeah,
because I want the updated body with the paint. So yeah, there's just some chat on the reveal. So if you want Bosk or the other two going up, 000 or BT1, you'll be listening to the audio version on Saturday. So they'll be available fan channel, any fan channel website like Entertainment Earth, Big Bad, Hasbro Pulse, etc.
Toy Snowman, Nerdzoic.
Toy Snowman, yeah. Mike's got to get his plug in there.
Got to get that plug in.
Maybe Toy Snowman can be the official sponsor. Maybe we got to.
I wouldn't mind that. Get a little kickback. Well, I do. I've got a link. I've got a referral link that people can use on my YouTube channel. if they sign up.
Toy
for
Snowman,
it.
send us a figure to one figure a month, and maybe maybe we'll be in some talks. But we have reveals. We actually have some Black
Well,
Series
quote
reveals.
unquote reveals.
Yeah, no, it was the most this was the most underwhelming reveal I have remembered in a long time. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share this in Heroes and Villains Toys on Instagram has the pictures conveniently right here. So this credit to Sith Lord 229 YouTube, Instagram. He had the exclusive reveal, which is awesome. So congratulations. And then everybody was so excited. And then whenever it was the cold opening of the 4 archive figures back to back, everybody like all the skull emojis in the chat. It was a hilarious time. But this is International Archive Wave 2. So it seems like archive figures are kind of international exclusive now. And the 4 we have are Grogu, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and the Luke Skywalker Imperial Light Cruiser.
And the Ahsoka is the new Ahsoka, not like a classic Ahsoka.
The Mandalorian
Rebels
version.
It's the Mandalorian Ahsoka, yeah.
Of Ahsoka.
Or the Ahsoka because it's the same Ahsoka.
Yeah, or the Ahsoka. Yeah, correct. But so 2 of these make sense to me. And these are international exclusive. So, some context. Hasbro Pulse has recently expanded like pretty big globally. So they're trying to get stuff to countries that don't necessarily have a lot of action figures, or at least the logistics haven't worked out getting them a lot of figures. So 2 of these make sense to me, the Obi-Wan and the Luke. But the Ahsoka and Grogu just seem like new media marketing to me. That's saying, okay, we need people, who have seen these shows.
It's kind of A-list a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like casual bait in a way. People are going to see an Ahsoka, an Ahsoka and a Grogu on the shelf and, buy it as a gift or something. But, I mean, the Obi-Wan and Luke is fine, but the other 2 are just kind of, they're questionable at best. And another thing, the archive wave used to be for figures that were high on the secondary market, and now it's just kind of like, oh, let's just put figures in here that are actually pretty easy to get still.
Yeah, I mean, for context, the first international archive wave was X-Wing Luke, who's been archived before.
Yep.
The A New Hope Darth Vader, the 2020 Stormtrooper body, and then I think it was Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah.
Yeah, which
and all
again,
of those, I think Vader, the Stormtrooper, and Bo-Katan have been available in stock on Big Bad Toy Store for a while now.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. So if you're in the US and you want those, like if you missed out on that A-list Vader, which is at every Target right now, if you want the archive version of Vader, it's in stock. If you want to, stock up on some 2020 Stormtroopers, that's in stock. So, and Bo-Katan, it's funny, on Big Bad they've had Bo-Katan at $24.99, Vader at $25.99, and then the Stormtrooper at like $26.99. So they're definitely trying to make a profit off the more popular 2. But so they've had those up for a while, and I imagine Big Bad will get these as well for people who are wanting them in the States. Oh, that's something else.
Yeah, but I think the big thing is, you had all the people. I mean, I get it. When you're expecting something new to be revealed and we get this, it's disappointing. I'm not saying you should be happy about this, but I feel like there are people that were too upset about it. Like, yeah,
like they're just international exclusive. Like, I don't think this keeps us from getting something new in the line. This is mostly for people who missed out. I think the choices are a little questionable.
Sure.
Out of the 4, anyway, in my opinion. But a lot of people, especially in the comments of that video, it was to the point where Sith Lord 229 had to apologize on his Instagram story, which I thought was ridiculous. So I messaged him and I was like, you don't have anything to apologize for. Like, the people who are upset about this, like, it's not your fault that this is what Hasbro gave you. Like, I don't see.
Yeah.
Like, just screw those people, that are mad at you because this is what you revealed. So.
I love this stuff, but and I take it seriously to a point, but I just don't. I understand, but at the same time, there are certain things I just don't understand about
some people
the blowback and the negativity. I mean, we all have our own opinions, our own wants, needs, or desires, but ultimately, the way I look at it is I vote with my pocketbook.
Yeah,
exactly.
just don't buy it.
There's
There's a difference between, you don't have to like it again and you just don't buy it, and like venting that harshly at people online.
Mm-hmm. And there's probably countries out there that didn't get like that Obi-Wan or that Luke. They always want a Luke out there, like an evergreen type figure. I'm sure Obi-Wan was kind of high on the secondary market, so that one makes sense. It's the other two that are
if I had a complaint, it's distribution. Like, and that's across the board. It's just been trash. I mean, but that's what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Well, you buy stuff online.
You buy it online. You buy it when you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can probably count, on one hand the figures I've purchased in store in the last 6 months. You know what I mean?
I honestly have no idea when the last Black Series figure I bought in store was. I genuinely have no idea.
I feel like if I do pick up one in store, it's one I've already pre-ordered that the pre-order hasn't shipped yet. Like, it's a Target exclusive and it's there. I'm going to cancel my pre-order. But yeah, pretty much online exclusive for me these days.
Honestly, it might have been that 2-pack, the Cad Bane Cobb Vanth 2-pack. That might have been the last one I bought in store that was like new, like I hadn't seen before, kind of thing. Everything else is just online, and I'm fine with that. It's not as fun. Like, there's always something magical about going down the toy aisle and seeing a new toy. Like, I have dreams about that. Like, it's a good feeling.
Oh, yeah. I had one the other week, actually, like that. Yeah, not exactly, but like a store was basically selling they found old inventory and they had it out on shelves. But here's the thing, even in my dream, it was marked up. And I'm like, I can't justify that. Like, half off. I'm like, it's still too much for that. And so in my dream, I dreamed that I said, no, I passed.
Hasbro.
I ended up buying something. I can't remember what did I like, some droid factory that I'd never seen before, where it came with droid exclusive figures. But yeah, I had a dream about that the other day. You're not the only one. You're not the only one who dreams of toys.
I think it's very common for toy collectors to have toy dreams, from what I understand. Like, I've heard that from a lot of people. But I mean, because it's just that combination of like dopamine getting hit and like finding something, and it like hits a bunch of different things at once. The instant gratification of I see it, I buy it, it's mine. Like, it's different from I see it online, I click buy, I put in my credit card information, then I wait 6 months or whatever to get it, and it's nice. You don't have that anxiety of I hope I get it. Like, you've got it, and you just have to wait to get it. But it's not as fun. It's a little more sterile, I guess.
It's not the same. There's nothing visceral about getting your pre-order in. Right?
Sure.
But on one hand, and then but then how many times has a box shown up and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, oh, I forgot about that, like 4 years ago or however much, however long it was. So it's.
Yeah, Mike, can you imagine whenever I have a dream of opening the brand new Anakin and then I wake up and it's like I'm messing with it. It's better than the Chieti Mundi Black Series figure, which is the new standard for Jedi, and then I wake up and
it all goes away.
All right, Chris. So my number one want in the Black Series is a brand new Anakin Skywalker from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, because the last one we've gotten from that movie was in 2013. It was in the Orange Line wave.
Yeah.
Way back when.
No, 14.
Old.
But yeah, it's old.
2013 or 14. Yeah, it was wave two of Black Series, the Orange Line. So old. And it's so outdated, and
back then were really cartoony.
Yeah, it was rough. And then they archived it, and then they tried to make the face better, but it just still didn't work. It looks awful. So we need a new one on a new body and he's been in media recently, so it makes sense to
that's the thing is whenever people like that show up in new media, it's usually a pretty good indication we're gonna get them again or a new version of them.
Yeah. And he's like one of the most popular Star Wars characters in general. So
And then was it next year is the 30th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith?
30th?
Is it 30? 20th?
20th.
20th.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm about to be 40.
I know. I'm like, oh my god, how old am I?
Lost 10 years. I didn't even realize it.
I sucked it away. It's my 10 years now.
Wait, that's next year? 20 years is next year?
2025.
Yeah, 2005 to 2025. Yeah.
Oh my God. I've been in Seattle for 20 years.
Oh.
Because I saw Revenge of the Sith when I had moved to Seattle. Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy cow.
Hey, yeah, your anniversary's coming up. Your Seattle.
Yeah, my
Your Seattle-versary.
Yes.
Yeah.
What moved you there?
I honestly, I felt like I didn't feel like I had a home. I mean, I had a home. I lived places, but I moved from Iowa to San Francisco for a job hosting a TV show. Did that for 2 years. Moved to LA for, I swear, it was like a year and a half. I couldn't stand it. I mean, San Francisco I dealt with, but I never felt like I could plant roots. It's like it didn't feel like it was home. And then I moved to LA. It really didn't feel like it was home. And I was just really frustrated. And then I came up to Seattle on a junket with Microsoft and just kind of, I don't know, something about it clicked. I'm like, yeah, I think this feels right. And so at that time moved with my, at that point, fiance to Seattle. And that was, yeah, I guess 20 years ago. Jeez. Dude, sorry. I just like,
No, you're fine. Like, so, did you have a collection you had to move around all the time?
No, I had, I had a couple of Vaders at that point. I did not have a full blown collection. I wasn't really as much, that was, if there was dark times, this had been in the start in the middle of the dark times. But she, in our first Christmas together in California, gave me a vintage Darth Vader, like a true vintage, like Kenner original telescoping lights, not telescoping, but like the lightsaber moved in and out of his arm. And I'm like, I was fascinated by it. I was blown away because as a kid, the only Vader I had a trade for, and it was all beat up, never had the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a vinyl cape, Darth Vader in really good condition, I was just like, I was enamored. I'm like, oh my God. I was really touched. It was one of the greatest gifts I ever received from, well, I'm not going to get into her, but anyway, so I put it up on a shelf. I'm like, it's one Darth. I need another Darth Vader. I'm like, so over the years, I got bits and pieces, even before then, but then I had like a shelf of Darth Vader. I had like a shelf of Jack Skellington stuff. So I had like a shelf, like basically. And so years later, this is in the throes of it was before a divorce. I had that shelf, right? Like just that shelf specifically right there. And I had the Darth Vader. And she got, she was upset. She basically said, put away the toys, stop playing, stop, you're a grown man, blah, 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 blah. And kind of shamed me for the very gift that I'm not going to drop an F-bomb, but she gave me. Like she gave that to me. And, and it was just one shelf out of, so in many ways, this is a knee-jerk reaction of like someone telling me, no, you can't enjoy what you enjoy. And I learned my lesson. And after that was done, I'm like, F you, that's never going to happen again. And it didn't happen again. So yeah, I had like fraction of that shelf at the time that I had moved. Now, God, if I had to move, I don't know what I would do. I'd be in trouble. I'll say that.
Well, I will say right now the plan is for me and my wife to move to Seattle next year.
Really?
So I get to pack all this up. But yeah, we'll have to get a beer.
We've got amazing Star Wars collectors up here. We've got the Sarlacc group, the Stars group.
Oh yeah. I've been talking
Jake,
with
right?
Jake from Fort on the Zuckus.
Yes. Yeah. Jake's good people.
So I'll be up doing the convention stuff and hanging out.
I don't do as much as I should, admittedly. I know
we'll go together.
It makes it easier when it's just like, okay, I know there's a group, and it's just it hasn't happened of
sure.
But
does it rain as much as
It's overcast.
it does.
It doesn't rain. It's I mean today it did rain, but like it's overcast more than it rains. But it does rain. It's just overcast, which I like. I like the fall. So
Yeah.
And Chris Hilsey will have to get a beer when I actually go up there. I know you've been down in my neck of the woods twice now, and we haven't been able to hang out. So maybe when I go up there,
it's funny.
we'll hang out.
Yeah. So what's do you still display your Black Series figures, and what are some of your favorite ones, if so?
Me, I assume. I've got so I've got a few behind me. I've got like a couple of the Vader Black Series there. Sometimes I'll thrift, sometimes I'll find one thrifting. This is I don't know which Darth Vader. This is a more recent one with the tunic over his.
Mm-hmm.
Did it come in the slanted packaging?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the A series one.
Yeah, the A list.
So I mean, I have them around, but I do have. When I started collecting, the red box, Black Series. I've got them in the quote unquote, they call it a butler's pantry. So it's kind of midway. You normally in a quote unquote normal house, you would put fine china and dishware. And I said, F that. I'm going to load this thing with Star Wars figures.
Hell yeah.
So basically most of my, probably not all, but I would say a chunk of the Black Series collection that I have is showcased in the butler's pantry, and in there I also have a lot of the red boxes that ultimately I ran out of space for them, so then I split that part of the collection. So because I have some I've opened, some I've kept in box, but I mean, what is it? One to play with, one to display, one to play.
One to rock, one to stock.
Something like that, yeah. So that's probably the closest thing I have to a showcase, and even then, since I pretty much I would say stopped almost wholesale. Yeah, pretty much. That's me. That's me. I stopped wholesale, but like I said, I recently when Hasbro did the repaints of the holiday figures, and I know this is apparently divisive, I got excited. I was like, this is really neat. I thought that was more creative than just a generic carbonized, which I'm also interested in, but not to the point where I needed to buy them all. So yeah, I've had room in the hutch, or I guess the butler's pantry, for other Black Series figures, and I'm not going to try to cram it with things that I'm not interested in. So it eventually will, I'm sure, get completely full. And there's other stuff in there as well, but that's probably where I've got the most of it. In this room, it's pretty much, and trust me, every angle you look at in this room, there's something else to look at. Let's see if I can find it. I will find it because I tweeted it out like a while back when I really cared about Twitter and when it's no longer X. Here is, and I'll drop it in the private chat. And this is a few years ago. Even though I'm not as prolific on X as I might be on Threads or Mastodon these days, but yeah, I've got in this room, it's pretty heavy Darth Vader, with, if you can't tell, obviously I've got a Stormtrooper, and other things that aren't Darth Vader that have somehow made it to various shelves. But I would say that this room, if I get it something Darth Vader-y, like the new, I'm not a Funko collector, though Funko has done a pretty good job, or Funatic, I guess is what you call it, as I drop everything, right? Like this Funko box. So that is the entrance to the room. Okay. And like I got an entertainment shelf. You can't see off to the sides because I kind of. Oh, actually, this is even older. This is older. Oh my God, I've got even more now. I just noticed that entrance to the room was older because I replaced that entrance with, by a radical degree, stuff. So I'm always finding room for stuff. In here. I mean, yeah, this even taking this picture a few years ago at 2020, like I'm not going to say the space, I doubled the space, but I've definitely optimized here, there, or wherever. So, and things moved around. You can see my vintage collection of Star Wars figures up there in the baseball bat cases from Michael.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like it's like mostly Darth Vader stuff.
Yeah, it's
really
I
awesome.
would say the room is, if you look, I mean, and as I said, like towards the entrance, I'm like, oh, I had a little Kylo Ren shelf, or I've got a BB-8 shelf. So there are some individual shelves in this room, but not not dominated by Black Series.
There's definitely a focus.
Yeah, it's focused, but it's also, that focus is also slowly expanding. You can see stormtroopers up by the TV. So it's mostly, if I get a Darth Vader thing, it's probably going in this room, and I've just let other things grow. This is before I really expanded into the house, and now it's less it's less likely. I'll find a place for it.
What's that autograph right there? Is that
is Dave Prowse?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what
it's a customized napkin that someone got for me. He signed it. So it is a custom autograph, which was nice to see. Yeah, I mean, it's an eyeful. People walk in here and they're just like, oh my God. So even there, so like at this time, I didn't have this moving shelf, didn't have that secondary shelf. Like, so I've over time expanded, moved, optimized again and again and again. But yeah, it's primarily a Darth Vader room. And then, like I said, you'll say, oh, wait, you got all these droids here. Even those back there, they're like almost like swatches. Those are Darth Vader figurines that I've 3D printed in various filament colors. It's just no articulation. It's just a figurine.
Oh, cool.
But, yeah, those are all 3D printed in. Again, I get a cool color, I'm like, oh yeah. Or like play action toys. This is a trichromatic filament, so like 3 different colors.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's neat. Like you're probably never going to see things like this. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So yeah, this figure articulates.
So do you do any resin prints?
I don't. No, resin is a little chemically, right? It's a little more dangerous, a little more noxious. I stick typically with PLA, and I'm not a gadget guy at all. I'm not. I mean, I press a button and I go, and I'm able to figure it out. So, if I can assemble a Darth Vader,
Hold on. You review phones online.
Yeah, I never really reviewed phones. I talked about them, but I never really reviewed them. Okay. But if I can do that, I mean, I'm serious. When I say if I can do this, if I can do this, anybody can. I will tell you, no, it's very complex to put together. This isn't. This is extremely easy to do. 3D printing gets easier and easier by the year. I would say more affordable, but you really run up the cost with filament because you're constantly cycling it.
I mean, the Bamboo P1P comes mostly fully assembled. You just got to put a little. Yeah. Literally have to like do a couple screws, take some stuff, plug it in, and.
I've got an A1 Mini. It doesn't have an extreme build volume, but the A1 Mini at what is it, $250 is a bargain to get started. And then you talk about getting like the multicolor. That's just a couple $100 extra. So you can stair step into it. And like I said, in the average week, I'm printing, and this is a Queel, and I've got other ones behind me that I've done as well, like the Imperial Gunner, and I did it like the vintage Kenner style Imperial Gunner with the red visor up there. Mm-hmm. The guy even made, this is a super exclusive. You can download and 3D print your own Chris Pirillo action figure if you want.
That's so cool. I might have to do that.
So it's a nice hobby, because there are times as a collector, and I need to come back to this, where maybe Hasbro's not releasing something that you want, okay, or you're waiting in between pre-orders. Well, we have a lot of those gaps, and I collect if you couldn't tell, I collect a lot more than just figures. If it's Star Wars, yeah, I'm interested. I'll get a lot of that stuff. Like the other day, Hot Topic had a blue milk container, like a plastic blue, like in a milk carton. I thought was kind of neat. Well, that's, you don't normally see that. I didn't live in an area where I could get the True Moo milk jugs. Unfortunately, I really wanted the Darth Vader chocolate milk one that apparently was out. But like in those times where there's nothing new on the store shelves, you can't find anything there, there's not anything interesting in pre-order, you could 3D print something that you want. And whether that's like this, a flexi stormtrooper in a filament color that you think is pretty wild, that you can stand on your desk, or it's let's say, sorry, this is going to make a liar out of me. There we go. Or 3D print a glow in the dark, as I destroyed a glow in the dark filament. This is glow in the dark. helmet. And I don't know if this is gonna. I've got a light to activate it here. Don't know how well it's gonna really show up. If I turn off the lights,
Yeah, we can see a little bit of it. Oh yeah, we can see a little bit there.
I go
Yeah.
green. It glows in the dark, so I can print, glow in the dark stuff. I can. So it's not just about what you're buying, right? It's about what you're downloading and making, like a fidget cube that's got Star Wars symbology on it. So I did. What did I do the other day? Like there was an RBS translation guide that I 3D printed that was kind of neat. Although I don't have it on me here. So being able to 3D print kind of as a collector bridges that gap with pre-orders, what's available, or any kind of lack of interest. So as my interest in Black Series, I'd say I feel like I was forced to dwindle, because I'd still be collecting. Like if money was no object and space was no problem, I'd still be collecting. It's just that it became it hit the pop vinyl for me. Like pop vinyl, when I didn't get into it initially, and then Force Awakens in that era, I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I started to go back and I realized they were releasing exclusive here, exclusive there, exclusive there. And like, it became a pain in the ass, and it really wasn't fun. So I stopped almost wholesale, and then I chase individually. Like I, get the certain things. I'm really happy with the miniature pop vinyl that, I don't think they're called pop vinyl, but Funko now makes like miniature.
Like the keychains is the.
No, not the keychain. That's a different one. I'm sorry. I'm looking around because I didn't know if I had it within arm's reach. But they're small scale. They look like Funko Pop vinyl, but they're miniature. So I'm collecting those. But in those times where those aren't there, I'm making. And now I've got something that, I've been given the right to sell. Now, even though it's not officially licensed, like the artist said, hey, if you want to sell the figures that you make, that's fine. I haven't done that because the amount of time that it takes to do and et cetera, it would be cost prohibitive. Like no one would spend the money that I, would charge to here. Can I have one? Yeah, but it would cost way more than you're willing to spend. But that's where 3D printing really filled that gap for me, that, I feel like I'm kind of left behind when I see a new Black Series out. I'm like, maybe when it goes on sale, and it, sometimes they do, and I'll grab them, I'll snap them up. I've been known to do that, especially when they drop in like the $10 range. I'm like, that's impulse buy. Yeah, absolutely. Let me grab it.
Yeah. I got this 3D printed Anakin Skywalker pin holder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen those.
And then I got this Darth Vader one. I don't know where the red pin is, or
that's probably the low poly one. Yeah.
Yeah, like those are pretty cool. But yeah, 3D printing for me, it's just, I mostly do dioramas for the Black Series, and it fills such a big hole in the collection for me. And it's kind of changed the way I buy figures and the way I want to display my shelf, because I want to buy figures for the dioramas I'm printing, more than I do just to want to like put them on the shelf, if that makes sense.
It does. And by the way, yeah, we need an Ollie's. Either that or Ollie's needs to sell stuff online, because we don't have that, which is horrible to not have that in Seattle.
We don't have that here in San Diego either. No Ollie's.
It's frustrating.
Ollie's is nice.
Yeah.
Ross has been pretty decent. I mean,
Ross is okay. Five Below sometimes.
Five Below's got. I just purchased some stuff on Five Below the other day. It used to be better, but like I ended up getting a whole bunch of. It would have been Resistance era figures for super cheap. Like the Stormtrooper and the TIE Pilot Resistance era figures for like $5 for two. Like it was incredible. The deal was just too good to pass up, for army building, certainly.
Sure.
But yeah, that's, that's a matter of budget. So now that I don't know if I say I'm a maker, but the fact that I feel
thank the maker.
Thank it. Yes. Well, I'm not it. But, every week now, it grows very, very slowly, such that when I show people around and they walk into the house, like they're like, right. I just 3D printed the in this color filament the stones from Fifth Element, and I've got them at the front. Right.
Oh, that's fun.
4 stones.
Yeah.
So people will ask, right? I'm like, yes. And then I've got, shelves of the larger Lego Star Wars figures that I have on display. And you look at it at a distance and think, oh, where did you buy these? The quality is such that most people at first glance would not be able to discern the difference between a super high quality, product or something that I might have been able to create. Which again, that shows you the delta where it's not difficult as it used to be. It's not as expensive as it used to be, and it gets easier and easier and easier with every passing year. 3D printing. So collectors, I feel. I'm not going to say there's going to be a reckoning that's going to come, not just with collectors and budgets, but because I don't think anything's ever going to be able to satisfy our that itch that we have. But for IP, for companies like Hasbro, whether we're talking about their IP or Disney's IP, there's going to come a point where, I mean, even Lego used to get really testy anytime anybody did anything that was Lego compatible, and then they kind of lost that. What was the trademark a situation in court? But like, this is more than just good enough. This is outstanding in terms of cost, accessibility, collectability, and that delta. We are coming closer and closer. It's not resin, so it's not super high quality, as precise as you might be able to get in a well machined figurine or figure, but it's good enough. Right, it's more than good enough. So what is, and I think, was it Hasbro that experimented with 3D printing a few years ago with some of their IP? Like I remember I want to say they had like My Little Pony. They had some other stuff that you could download the files in 3D print, but that was years ago, before we got to the point where it's become almost microwave simple to do. It's going to get faster, cheaper, easier. More people are going to adopt it, and it's going to force those who hold the IP not to necessarily release it, but to accommodate it, because there will be a backlash. And I don't, again, I'm not saying, am I saying that this Stormtrooper figure, this articulated doll, is going to replace, a Black Series figure? No, I'm not. Or a Hot Toys figure? Absolutely not. But that doesn't make it any less playable or any less fun or that much more awesome to collect.
No, but also, like if I were going to like a birthday party and I wanted to get like a fun little gift, I would print that out before going to the store and buying a Black Series figure for him or something, because that's got novelty. Yeah,
I've done that, and kids, then when they come over here, they love it. Like, what are you printing? I'm printing a figure. What do you print? I'm printing a dragon. Like, oh, can you do one for me? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, kids are enamored by it, and I feel like right now with 3D printing, and this is very much a collector conversation, because we are going that direction. We're not there today. It's not, I think, going to be a full-on replacement, but if you're not steeped in the world of what's going on, it's getting easier. You got amazing artists, skilled artists like Lance Peter Luke coming along and making dioramas that you wouldn't see it otherwise, because Hasbro can't afford to make it. I talked to Mr. Stevie years ago after I met him, after I did an engagement for Disney, and I said, why doesn't Hasbro have, I've asked, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, a Black Series figure of the month or a figure of the month club where you get a Gurindon, where they don't have to risk running him in retail or selling him in a package and having him be a peg warmer because no one knew who he was, or he wasn't popular enough. But if you have a figure of the every other month whatever collection, you eliminate that, and suddenly we could have the Tonica sisters, or big characters that have been begging for re-releases for eons, or just initial releases in general, but it targets the collectors, right? And it seems that with the shift in retail, because we talked briefly, finding something in retail is just a shock anymore. Maybe it's an exclusive, and even then it's oh my god, I found it. I'm not saying retail is dead, but my toy runs have dramatically, and I mean the fall off was like almost immediate. Like after the pandemic, it was a cliff. I don't even bother anymore. I'm like, every so often it's just like costs are prohibitive, and inventory is non-existent. I'm either pre-ordering or it's a reissue of something. So there's going to be a delta at which point, and we're not there, but we're approaching it, where they're going to have to say, all right, you can make this here. We've got the IP. You buy the IP from us, and then you can make it and you can license it, and everybody and they'll make so much money. So
Yeah,
much money.
it just seems like if I was Hasbro and I'm looking at how many people subscribe and purchase files from Lane Studio Luke, Charvy's 3D in print condition to make dioramas for their figures, if you're Hasbro, why not, like your own people, pay an employee to create files for you and then sell the files to people who 3D print? Like, I don't know what the market is and all that, but
I don't blame. They are companies. I do not begrudge them that. I'm not gonna badmouth. I'm not gonna bad talk. It's their IP. It's their right to do what they're going to do with it. The problem is there are market conditions that are pushing from the other side. And I as much as you're not, because you're never going to see me, I'm always going to buy Star Wars. Like, it's hello, like I like the recent acquisition, it's going to happen. So it's not Chris is going to, or me as a collector, suddenly I'm going to stop buying stuff that's being produced because I can make my own. It's not going to happen. And I think it's a fear of that future that I feel is keeping them from adopting and really adapting to market conditions and potentially making collectors happier.
Well, it's a little bit like back in the day when things like movies started coming out on VHS, and they were afraid that people watching movies at home were going to stop them from going into the theater to see the movies. But there's never, like, even now, I would say
we've hit that point now.
We probably have. We have a little bit now,
but
yeah,
I don't even think it's because of the matter of quality. Some people have a better home theater setup, right? I'm not one of them. It's a matter of convenience, and it's a matter of cost. I cannot justify going to a movie theater easily. I mean, I can go alone, fine, but I'll wait till Tuesday when Regal has its $7 day,
$5 movies on Tuesdays here.
Yeah, or I don't know if that's everybody, but like you guys had mentioned it, but I don't know if every theater chain does that. But as opposed to spending 12 or 13 or having a family, taking your kid out, it just doubles, and it's just like,
and then a soda costs $8 and your popcorn costs
more than that. Yeah.
So it becomes cost prohibitive, and that's what the industry doesn't understand. It's so cost prohibitive. It's not that we don't want the experience. It's that experience that we get relative to what we had to pay, because the rate of inflation isn't matching the rate at which we're getting paid, because your boss doesn't necessarily care. Well, we can't, sorry, you don't get a raise, here,
right.
A jelly of the month club. Like, it's not, that's
classic Christmas Vacation reference there.
So, or we have, we glad you got the reference. We have to pick and choose. And so as a collector, I would rather buy something or save my money to buy something and to have something to hold on to than to throw it away. So when I went out on a date, still dating her, and it was a joke. It was our first date, and she said, oh, I remember watching a TikTok said, if I ever would go on a first date, what? Forget about going out to dinner. We're going on errands. She's gonna see the real me, and she joked about it. I'm like, let's go. I'm doing errands. So like we drove, did errands. And so I was showing her, okay, here's what I normally buy. And I buy food at a markdown. Like, I'll save 50% on a bag of frozen French fries, same bag of fries. It's just maybe the expiration date's in, another month, right? But I saved $5. So that $5 that I saved, I can now afford to pay for, the Professor Hu Yang figure without feeling guilty. Like I'm always overspending. I still got to eat, but a man's got to collect too. So it's a matter of where that budget goes that I think is the big disconnect with what's happening in the collector community. We want to collect, we want to buy, shut up and take our money. Absolutely. And we find the things that we love the most, but there's just that disparity just seems to be getting wider and wider and wider. And that's where, again, 3D printing on my own is kind of satisfied a similar kind of itch. Mostly, I'll still go gaga for anything that they slap Star Wars on something, I'll buy it. Like, I mean, people, my ex said, it's funny, like I'll say, oh, I'm looking for something, and I inevitably find it with Star Wars slapped on it. I'm like, here you go. Oh, you needed a stapler? Okay, here you go. Here's the Star Wars stapler. Here you go. The GameStop. Oh, you need a screwdriver? Okay, here. Okay, an R2D2 screwdriver kit. There you go. Okay, So I can measuring tape. Yeah, I got that too. I keep my tool drawer. There's R2D2 measuring tape for real. So she joked, but I'm like, yeah, I can find anything with Star Wars on it. I will continue to buy things with Star Wars on it, but I still have to be careful about what I'm spending. Hence, still wanting to collect Black Series, but by and large, waiting. Yeah. Apart from maybe some exceptions, waiting until it's discounted, because then I can still get the satisfaction without feeling like I paid the first or early adopter fee.
I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of a price adjustment back down. I mean, like recently Hasbro's been doing like multi-packs, and I feel like there was a time where we'd be paying the price of those figures or maybe that and a little bit more, but now it seems like they've been seeing that price and then dropping it down $10. So for instance, that Heir to the Empire or Last Command 4-pack, instead of being $100 like 4 figures would be, it's $90, you know?
Yeah. So and the Captain Enoch and Stormtrooper,
Captain Enoch and
new tooling,
even
it's $5 cheaper.
Dropped in half. Starkiller with the 2.
Yes.
And I wasn't into it. I debated it, but again, Black Series, I'm a little
sure.
I'm not sure about, but I've hovered over ordering that Starkiller set.
Yeah.
For the troop.
Well, I think
sold
we
out
are
now.
It is. It was a good price. I mean, that was worth the price of just the 2 stormtroopers that it came with. But I feel like we are starting to see that price where they realized they were overreaching with price, whether it was pandemic related or they were getting greedy or a little bit of everything, which I think is probably more accurate. I mean, I don't know if you watched that 4-hour Jenny Nicholson video about the Star Wars Hotel.
I know it's gonna happen.
I mean, it's worth it. I put it on when I was working one day, and it's really good. But one of the things she talks about is like, it's not a bad experience. It's a bad experience for the price. Like, you know, the cheapest you can do when she did it was like $6,000. And like, that's
insane.
They only had, it's not like a regular hotel or Disneyland where you can go for like a week and do it. It's like a curated thing that it's 2 nights, 3 days, and it's like, it's set. There's a story. You got to experience it. So it's not like someone's checking in like a day later or whatever. It's like having a 3-day long dinner theater. Basically, it's Star Wars. And for some people, it works really well because they're in the right place at the right time to get all these cool experiences. And for some people, they get put in the worst seat and they can't see the show because there's a pillar in front, or the app they have doesn't work, or they just have a weird interaction with a person, and their whole experience that they've spent $6,000+ maybe even $10,000 or $12,000 for is ruined because that experience is so fragile. Like what they have packaged can break in a moment. So it's not so much that it was bad, it's just bad for the price, basically. And relative. It's all relative. So I think we are starting to see that blowback where like it's just people can't afford to throw that much money away right now. And that's what got me out of being a Black Series completionist was seeing that 2-pack of carbonized figures of figures I already owned, and I'm like, and it was like $70 for 2 figures,
for $35 each. Yeah,
I
couldn't do it. I just couldn't justify it, and I
love the Emperor's Royal. In fact, I and this is an original scan of an Emperor's Royal Guard. It's a model.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the character. Yeah, I hear you. Same way.
Yeah. And I remember because I remember when they announced it, I was in the middle of playing with that the Andor 2-pack that was the convention exclusive one that had the Andor and the B2 emo. And I paid $60 for those 2 figures, and one of those isn't even a full figure. So I was already feeling a little bit gross about it, to be honest with you. And I'm like, this is too much money for what this is. And then they do that, and it was like a 1-2 punch combo where it's like something inside of me shattered, broke.
But the thing is, I want it. Like it's not that I don't want it. It's not that I'm saying, oh, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like
nope.
because I wanted the Emperor's Royal Guard that
Yeah.
I wanted it, but I'm like, I cannot justify 60. 30, I'm like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah, and it's 30 right now on Hasbro Pulse, and it was 30 on Amazon. Yeah,
Right. You know,
and
so
that's
I'm
fine.
in.
I
Like,
think,
it's
yeah,
tough.
I think $40 or $50 would have been fine at that, but 70?
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Now I am a sucker though for the vintage collection. Like it's just I can't. There's just
how much was that?
this. Oh my god, this is an Amazon exclusive. It was 50 plus 60.
Okay,
And it'll probably drop in price. I have no doubt about that. But I just can't. I can't pass it up. I can't.
well, and that was the other killer. Is it happened so especially last year. Where you'd and the year before, where you'd buy a figure if you're like an early adopter like me or Zach, or you know when you buy stuff to review, or if you have like a podcast, you have that like you really can't wait to get a figure because people want to know about it. You want to talk about it with people. You want to share that experience. So you don't have the luxury really of waiting sometimes. But like I'd buy a figure and literally like a month later, it's on clearance. It's on, it's not even
like so fast.
It's so fast.
Well, and it was the Target exclusive carded Gamorrean Guard.
Yeah,
it was on clearance on shelves in Target before the pre-orders even shipped.
Really?
So, yeah.
So it just it felt gross. It felt gross to want to enjoy the line, to want to support it, to even pay prices I felt were okay. But still, the people that weren't buying them right away were getting rewarded, it felt like, for not kind of supporting the line.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at those people. It's not their fault that they waited and got a better deal than me.
Well, it's a gamble. It's a
gamble.
I'll take those gambles.
Sure.
Very. I absolutely I take those gambles all the time. There are certain things that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to gamble on this.
Like you didn't gamble on that 4-pack right there.
No, I didn't gamble, even though I have a feeling it will drop in price. Like certain things, like even that Disney releases, like the Disney store. So they just released a Pride droid that I don't have on hand, a TC-14. They're not Hasbro, but they are vintage collection scale.
Yeah, it's the droid factory or whatever.
Yeah, the droid factory line, which I'm glad. They're as far as they're interchangeable. I'm not going to be crazy.
No, I've got some droid factory ones I got from Disneyland up here that when they have the build your own
the droids
and stuff.
I was just like, why?
No, it was fun. I've got an R2. We got Protocol. My wife and I both built one, and it's kind of fun. Like it's the only real 3 3/4 inch figures I've got besides the Darth Vader.
I don't know why they've made their choices.
That's true.
It's knowing what taking a gamble and a risk of, do I really want it? Do I need it? Can I wait? And is there a possibility it's going to get marked? So you look at the historical line. So I looked and a lot of Black Series, not all of them, will drop in price. And in and around Christmas clearance, I'm like, okay, well then that's when I'll pick them up. If I pick them up. So there's certain things that I'll just back away from and then just wait until it goes on sale, because I'm like, it's neat, but not like I need to have it neat.
So I kind of wanted to sidetrack a little bit and talk about maybe Star Wars a little bit. How do you feel about maybe new Star Wars media, like the Disney owned stuff or the Disney show stuff and the sequel trilogy and the prequel trilogy and kind of everything?
So I respect everybody's position. The way that I look at it is, I watched Star Wars when I was a kid, and there's no way it's ever going to be the same. How do you put yourself in the same frame of mind as a kid, as you were, back when I was in grade school and Star Wars was out? I remember that, but I can't return to that. I can remember the feeling of that, and I remember Star Wars being mostly fueled by imaginations and toys. But trying to hold Star Wars, I guess, to the same level as an adult is not fair. But that said, things could have been done better, a lot better. It's not a secret that they didn't have a plan with the sequel trilogy. They didn't know what they were doing. And but here's the thing. I don't have a problem with it either. I didn't have like this knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people had, whether we're talking Disney or even Lucas's, the prequels. At least at the same level. And I came around to, I mean, I was excited for Disney to get the IP just to let it live. I tried to watch Star Wars through my daughter's eyes, and she's not I wouldn't say she's a Star Wars fan. She knows enough. But
that's kind of sad that a little girl named Jedi doesn't really like Star Wars.
My name's Chris, and I'm not a Christian, so
that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, fair.
So, trying to put myself in that frame of mind, I watch entertainment just to be entertained, and I don't care. I don't think about it too much. I don't let it, I just let it wash over me, and that's made it a lot easier to just enjoy the moment. So I've appreciated that Disney stumbled upon streaming and has been using it. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Mike. So I'm okay. I'm not going to say I'd rather have bad Star Wars than no Star Wars, but I'd rather have some Star Wars than none. Yeah. And I can I can find something that to like and not like about everything. So for example, The Last Jedi, I enjoyed, maybe not at the same level as I might have The Force Awakens, and I actually got a kick out of the Rise of Skywalker. But like Luke, to me, for all the reasons why everyone was pissed off at Ryan for The Last Jedi, I'm like, I am a middle-aged guy, but at the time that I'm watching it, and Luke is like, yeah, screw this, I'm done. I'm like,
you identify with it.
Yeah. So much, Luke. So it resonated with me. I always the character. So then you start feeling so that's not true to Luke. I'm like, really? Think about his only two influences that he might have had growing up. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Two individuals who ran away, who went into hiding, who basically cut themselves off. So you're telling me logically that's not realistic, that he wouldn't, think that. So
Uncle Owen wasn't a bucket of sunshine either.
What's that?
Uncle Owen wasn't a bucket of sunshine.
I'm not that I'm going to get, into an argument over it, but I'm just like, it's fantasy.
Sure.
Move yourself in it. I get it. Yep. But like, I found something that I liked about it. And when that happens, then I'm just like, I'm in. So I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for a reboot of my childhood. I'm looking just have fun and be entertained. And quite honestly, Disney's, they've hit the mark across the board for me. They could have done better. That is not a blanket. You did perfect. I mean, they are not free from criticism and well-deserved criticism. But, I feel they're finding their way and continuing to find their way. And I'm glad. I would want Star Wars to be a perennial brand, much like you can walk into a store, go into a kids section, and you see Marvel something, superheroes. It's rare that you see a Star Wars something. So I don't know if we're ever going to be at that point, but I would love to see that. I would love to have Star Wars become more of a perennial brand.
Are you looking forward to the Acolyte?
Oh, I'm going to see the Acolyte. Actually, I got an invitation an hour before this session or the
nice
podcast. Yeah, I got invited to see a screening of it the day before, which is probably going to be about the same time everyone's going to see it anyway. So I get to see it on the two first episodes on the big screen. So I'm excited.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, that'd be cool.
Very excited.
How do you feel about the prequel trilogy? Are you a huge prequel fan, or?
I was excited when the first Phantom Menace was released. I guess I was the only one in the theater who was really happy. Like I think everyone. I remember the excitement at the beginning, and I remember it was almost dead silent when the movie was over. It was such a stark contrast. And I was like, dude, okay, wow, cool, that happened, all right. So I didn't think about it. So much. So then I saw it again like two times, I guess, in the subsequent days, with my my parents. And I guess I didn't hate it. I didn't hate Jar Jar. I didn't hate all the things that everyone hated about it. Was I enamored? Maybe not the same level, but I enjoyed it. Attack of the Clones, I enjoyed probably better the first time than the second time, because when I saw it the second time, I was in a theater with a whole bunch of people, like my coworkers, and they were laughing at parts that weren't supposed to be funny. And that's when I'm like, oh, you're right. That was a little weird, and then so again, that when I lose myself in it, it's a different scenario than when I'm trying to make it something that it isn't. And so this is not to George Lucas's credit saying they're movies for kids. I think you got to make good entertainment. I think you got to direct well. I think it's got to be a good story, good characters, etc. I think everything has to be in a package. My feeling is I'm not a fan of the prequels. I can find things that I enjoy about the prequels, but it's not my era of Star Wars. I don't know what my era of Star Wars is to the point where you can say, what's your favorite Star Wars? I'm like, it's all Star Wars to me. So I look at it in totality, and the more that piles on, the happier I am. I can't pick and choose like my favorites. I can't, you couldn't ask. I don't have an answer to that question.
Interesting.
I don't.
Most different. People think they default to like Empire.
Yeah, like I mean, I certainly enjoyed Empire, but I enjoyed Jedi too for Jabba's palace and stuff, and even A New Hope. Like there are things that if we stop looking at these, it's like a collection. You don't just look at. I mean, you may have your favorite figure, right? You may have your favorite figure, but it's all together that you enjoy. It's that I look behind you and I'm like, ooh, that's cool. I don't have that yet. It's the collection. That is the draw. And that to me is, if we frame Star Wars, and maybe this is more philosophical, but if we frame Star Wars in the same way, it suddenly, the parts that we would nitpick and throw the baby out with the bathwater doesn't have to be thrown out. You could say Attack of the Clones may not have been the strongest for the prequel movies, if you believe that, but the score, the soundtrack, I love it.
It's probably the best movie soundtrack.
Across the Stars is probably my favorite piece of John Williams music.
Like even if you didn't like Force Awakens, Rey's theme is just it's great.
Kylo's theme is and they intersect with each other.
Here's what we can do is we can make our own Star Wars movie by taking pieces of every other Star Wars movie. We'll have like the opening of Return of the Jedi, and then we'll have the sound effect of the seismic bomb.
The beautiful thing is, yeah. But see, that's the beauty when you start seeing Star Wars through this wider lens, a wider field of view. Suddenly, the things that bother you become less bothersome because you're able to take it in totality.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how I've been seeing it too. Where like I get. There are some things where I'm like, yeah, that is stupid. It is stupid to see Obi-Wan hide Leia in a trench coat. That is legitimately dumb.
But it was hilarious.
But there's also so many other cool things just in that episode where it's like, if you're going to let something like that ruin the series for you because
that's what I'm saying, dude. It doesn't. And the more Star Wars that's released, the happier I am, because now I have more to choose from.
You have more to choose from. Yeah.
As opposed to, okay. So this is, again, it's philosophical, it's spiritual, but if you
the Church of Skywalker.
Okay. So, I mean, this is a very Jedi thing, but like if you live in fear, that's all you're going to see. Like that's your lens. If you live in hatred, that's all you're going to see. If you live in negativity, that's all you're going to see. Even if the most positive things in front of you, if all you see is negativity, that's all you're going to see. And I think even as fans, like we have the propensity to do that, especially when we love something. And I feel like there are times that it has not done as well as it could have in certain, whether we're talking certain moments, maybe, installations, whatever, it missed the mark. But in totality, it's that we want to love it and that we can still love it without loving all of it. Just like an individual, you can't. You have to love them for their strengths and their weaknesses. You have to love them for their you got to love them at their best as much as you got to love them at their worst, because it's nuanced. And I feel entertainment and IP is the same way, as long as they're not just phoning it in, right? And that's where I feel Disney has kind of run that. They've walked that line, and they should have done something. They should have done some different. They should have made some different choices in certain respects. But again, it's relative. Like you didn't like the trailer. I thought it was just like, it's funny. It was cute. I'm like, I really got a kick out of it.
Well, I just said that because that's a thing I see a lot. Yeah.
Someone out there is just like, screw this. I'm selling all my Star Wars. I'm like,
and it's always such a weird reaction, because that's not a reaction that hasn't been done before, and it's so wild you make
your own choices.
Yeah,
but if you start viewing Star Wars through that greater lens, it becomes more enjoyable and less stressful and you can't compare who you are today and think that it's like trying to relive the 80s. I enjoy nostalgia. I enjoy it, but I'm not there anymore. I'm not. I mean, it's great, and I remember it, but like that was a period in my life, and I was at a different point in my life. I'm different now at 50 than I was at 16, or 15, 14. So,
and it's not like saying it's toxic positivity, which is something I've seen.
No.
Where like we're not saying that you have to say everything is great.
Don't be an apologist.
No, like no, not everything is great, but there's just that middle ground where, or like nuance where you can criticize some things and you can praise some things, and the things to criticize aren't saga ruining. It isn't childhood ruining. It's
not just that, but like I've set shots across companies' bows, and forget Hasbro, forget Lucasfilm and Disney.
Sure.
Like when we're talking tech, like I've dragged Apple for software problems for a number of years since the release of iOS 7. Here we're talking about a hard shift. I downshifted so hard I dropped the transmission in the middle of the podcast.
Hey, I worked for Apple for 14 years. Let's go.
Okay, so
I was about to say, Mike, you might have.
No. I'm
using an iPhone. It as a phone. I use a Samsung phone because their software after the release of iOS 7 things just changed fundamentally.
Sure.
So I basically said, yeah, no. And I did the same thing with Microsoft in and around the Windows Vista era, Windows Me. Like I was critical. Not because I hated it. I was critical because I'm like, do better. We deserve better as consumers. We deserve better. So any kind of criticism that is targeted and key and like, yeah, no, this is a decision that, it wasn't that this is not something that I wanted. You could vote with your wallet. You can easily do that. But when you call out problems, that's the way they get fixed. If enough people believe that it's a problem, it will get addressed. If people do not criticize and they accept it on blind faith, then it's just going to, it'll continue ad infinitum. They're just going to keep making money. So you can vote with your voice, with your wallet. I don't have a problem with people's criticisms because it's relative. Like what you enjoy is not what I enjoy. So I'm not going to, piss in your Cheerios if that's what you're eating. So generally it's just not a sanitary thing to do. And
I wouldn't.
I don't know where to piss though.
It's what's the new flavor they're releasing soon. You don't want to be in the test market for that. Just trust me on this. So it's when people take it too far, ad hominem attacks, a very immature, like just outlandishly not inappropriate. Well, maybe inappropriate, but imbalanced, directly inversely proportional to the problem.
There you go.
Like this is the problem, but if you conflate it and build it into something just like, my God, where do you get your tinfoil hats? I need some. Like it's just like, wow. Some people are just a little unhinged. It's
a little
that's warranted criticism out of love, and when you view it through love, you're able to be respectful of what's going on. So I don't begrudge Hasbro for raising prices because everyone's raised prices across the board. I can't begrudge them that. They've got employees, they've laid off employees, right? They've got their own business to run, but I can vote with my wallet. I can make that decision saying, yeah, that's too much for me. Let the quote unquote let the market decide. Well, maybe the market decided. Maybe now it's $10 over. It's $10 under.
And that's what we're seeing with some of these multi-packs. They're starting to drop them down from what we've seen.
Yeah, I don't. It's where criticism just feels uncomfortable to me. I'm like, and everyone's got their own line but I look at it through the lens of totality. And looking for something that I enjoy more than just looking for something that I could hate. Because finding hate is easy. Finding something to hate is easy. That's easy. The dark side is easy to succumb to, if you will, right? It's easy. Like you don't have to think about it. But versus being a Jedi and walking that path, I mean, it really is. It's character building. It's hard. It's hard to take the harder path than the easy path, right? It's harder. It's more difficult. It's more challenging. I'm not saying it's easy because it's easy to succumb to things that are easy when you live in your feelings and your emotions and raw like that. But when
If
you,
only there were a story about that, where someone loves something so much they want to protect it, and maybe it drags them down into the dark side. I think that would be a cool
I
saga.
think that
If
would
you
be pretty
will.
neat.
Yeah.
it's not a stretch. People, this happens, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying you become the very thing that you hate, but when we don't enjoy, like if you, for example, Mike, if you bought that $60, you bought that 2-pack for $60, like you you would not hated yourself, but you would have regretted the purchase.
I would have regretted it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And that to me that's collecting. It's not collecting because I have to have it. It's it's collecting because I enjoy it, and I enjoy seeing it, and I enjoy it being a part of something. So, the moment that something becomes not enjoyable for me, I have the maturity to at least start thinking of stepping away from it. Look with the Black Series or Funko Pops, I'm like, but like I have that maturity to say, all right, it's not for me anymore. This is not fun, or it would be fun, but if parameter X, Y, and Z were met. So and everyone's got to they've got to find that within themselves, which I realized we have adults like us. We can have this mature. We can have these mature discussions, but there are also man-childs out there, right? There are men who didn't really grow up and don't have full-on responsibilities, or don't know necessarily how to contain the rage that they may feel, or identify that rage appropriately and channel that appropriately. And that's not to say that you shouldn't feel upset if something doesn't match your expectation. It's where that rage is directed, or how that manifests itself.
Maybe they would direct it by walking down the toy aisle and flipping off action figures and posting that to Instagram.
If people do that,
Potentially,
potentially they could. Yeah,
it's an outlet.
Yep.
It's
certainly is.
Much how people. It's that, but again, it's the negativity that I feel just fuels negativity. And the only way we're going to be able to work with these companies that produce the things that we love, I'm a consumer. Absolutely. Sign me up. Consumerism. I know me. So let me say, shut up and take my money. Absolutely. I'm looking for those excuses. And that's where I say, vote with your feet, vote with your wallet. Flipping off a figure, that's fine. It's cathartic. Totally get it. Not something I would necessarily do because it doesn't do anything. When you vote with your wallet, they'll pay attention. They'll sit up.
Sure.
They'll recognize, like, oh, we're not selling as much as we used to. Why? You're making the wrong decisions. You're producing the figures that the people who are buying aren't wanting, right? You've created a line that
or too many figures. Yeah.
Yeah, so overproduct. Yeah,
it's nuanced. Now, I do fundamentally believe that cost is a massive factor these days. Massive.
Sure.
Massive
factory shipping
in general. Yeah.
Overhead. There's a lot of overhead. Yeah, absolutely.
Massive.
Yeah.
So voting with my wallet has never been more powerful than it is today. And I've had to make some. I mean, there have been times, believe it or not, that I've walked it and seen a Star Wars something that I've passed. But yeah, I'm good. It's too much. Can't. Nope. I'm good. It's hard to do because I'm like, that'd be really cool, but not cool enough for me to snap up. And I've missed out on a lot of cool, really awesome things, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I know I would have enjoyed them, but the cost it was relative to the experience that I was looking
cost
for.
relative to the experience.
Because how would I have regretted getting it, right? And I don't want to look at something that I love and think, will I regret getting this? That should tell you as a collector everything that you need to know about that particular purchase. Are you going to not hate yourself in the morning? Well, here's how you avoid the hating yourself in the morning problem. Sleep until noon.
Hey, you can't hate yourself in the morning if it doesn't exist.
I'm just a life hack. I just recently picked up.
Until noon.
Feel free to apply it. So it's we're at an interesting point, and I'm sure we've been at this junction for years, but I just see that problem continuing to increase because I don't know if kids these days even want toys. I mean, physical toys, but like at the same rate that we did. What happens when all the collectors die or they start dying out as they are?
Right.
What happens?
Yeah, maybe vintage collection will go away, and then we'll have more budget on 6-inch figures.
No, you do not put that out to the universe. Do not. You take that back.
Once all those boomers start saving for retirement, how they should be, it'll all be Black Series. I did want to.
I'm gonna tell you, that would be a fear. I don't even want to think about it. I'm like, it would be catastrophic. The thing that upsets me is when I see. I'll say this as a vintage collection collector, or smaller scale, it upsets me to see we don't have any Bad Batch.
Sure.
Honestly, they
it upsets me a little bit too.
For years, TBC fans said, "Oh, we want Bad Batch, and then Hunter is revealed in Bad Batch, and he ends up at Ollie's or Ross for $5.99. So that sends a message. They didn't want Bad Batch after all.
Yeah, but all the Black Series gets all the characters. Well, that's where I wish there was more parity. And I realize the people who collect both don't want that, but those who collect just one over the other, want that.
Well, in my opinion, true balance. Since TVC gets more play sets, that allocates like a certain amount of plastic towards all those huge play sets. They're probably not able to get as many pure figures because we don't get any play sets.
Yeah, we don't get the cool
accessories at all. Yeah. We barely get accessories these days on Black Series.
I backed the Rancor. It's in
Thank you. They're king. You're a legend.
Because I thought that's pretty cool. I'm like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
The thing that I feel they missed the mark on were the exclusives. I'm like, give us a Malakili, give us an Ula,
which they did eventually, but it wasn't
at
early.
the very end. Yeah.
Pack that thing, and I know the rumor right now for TVC, the next HasLab is the Cantina. I'm like, okay, it's a neat playset. But how many figures do you get? Like, are you dropping like 12 exclusives? Like, are you like really ones that we have never seen? Ones that are maybe reissued? Like, are you giving? That's the thing. The figures. I only backed the Razor Crest because I wanted the frozen in carbonite. I only backed the Ghost for the figures. There's two of them they're exclusive. I don't care about the cards as much as the actual action figures. It's the figures that motivate my purchases.
Yeah.
That's me though. So it's not the place. It's funny. I don't want the play sets. I mean, they're neat, but
okay. So let's say the Cantina comes with let's say 6 figures.
Not enough.
Not enough.
I probably would be, but it's not enough. It's a Cantina. It's supposed to be packed. I mean, and don't just give us repacks. Don't just give it's a Stormtrooper or a Biff that was some recent things that we've seen. Give us ones that we never had. Latonica sisters. I know Vic has been complaining about this.
Oh yeah, she wants that.
Rightfully so. Name checking Vic there. But
she's been on the show.
I'd imagine. Give us figures that we hadn't.
Another. There's a vampire guy. There's a vampire guy in Mos Eisley Cantina named Danik Jericho, who has tentacles that come out of his teeth. Yep, you got it. Yep,
that was a release. I have it. So many. This is what I'm saying. They've been spread out through all the years. Getting them again is just going to be. Oh wait, hang on. 3 figures plus tier 1, tier 2.
Yeah, that's the rumor that we've seen.
So this was posted in the Out of the Basement Discord by Resident TVC guy. So I don't know where this person got the info, but this is what I guess the rumor is. Mos Eisley Cantina, the base version, which is $400, 3 figures plus tier 1 at 11, tier 2 at 14, tier 3 at 17, and then the add-on for $100 extra includes all of base version plus additional walls, booths, stools, benches, tables, and cups. Deluxe has about 35 extra accessories, not including the walls, alcoves. Regarding figures, none of them remain characters. 3 of the 6 figures are aliens.
But are they reissues? Of the aliens that they've released in the past.
Good question. Are 2 of them Tanica sisters?
But that's what I'm saying. What are?
I wonder if they might be
and the question is are they in? Is 1 tier 1 and 1 tier 2? Do you only get 1 potentially Tanica sister?
That would be evil, is what that would be. Yeah, I would. Yeah. But I always loved the aliens and the those kinds of creatures.
Same.
So figures will motivate me every single time. Yeah,
Well, one of them, you think it'd have to be the bartender, right? Woo her.
Wooer.
It would make sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, again, I mean, that's what I feel is going to frustrate collectors. Is like we already have a wooer. Like,
Yeah, but how old is that Wooher though? That isn't that Wooher from like 2000?
There's two or three, I think, wooers. This is definitely not my favorite, but like this is sorry if I can, like this is I don't know if this was Power of the Force.
I'm pretty sure that one. I'm pretty sure that one was the Power of the Force when it had the context.
There was another one that was released. There's a few of them, but like I said, the reissues as I'm reaching up to grab my Cantina.
But you don't want to woo her with like butterfly joints and photo reveal.
But that's the thing is I'm a
No
5PO guy. So like, like reissuing
Jasper. Yeah.
But but I already have him.
How many Bosheks do you need?
I've got one Boshek. I don't think they only made one Boshek. Oops. Shit,
You need a Cabe and Muftak.
Yeah, again,
yeah.
I just don't. My fear is that it's going to be, and this I would say it would dissuade me from getting it. Is a repack of something that we already had. That would just not a repack. A reissue of the figure, maybe with an updated sculpt. It's not like this. Dot is his name Das Pure or whatever.
I think it's Jasper.
Okay, Jasper. Yeah. Like his legs don't articulate, right? And his arms don't articulate. So it's a classic 5 POA. But I'm fine with that. I mean, as a figure collector, but I'm 5 POA guy.
So here's what they need to do. Cancel Vintage Collection. Put all the budget to Black Series and then make a 3.75 inch 5 POA line that gets barely any budget.
Just go straight back into retro, full retro.
Retro. Let's do it.
You know what? I feel I honestly, I hate to say it, I feel I would be okay with that.
That's what Jake said. Jake said he would have had from For Long Berserkers. He came on our podcast and said he would be fine with, because he thinks the TVC is getting a little overpriced for what they are.
It's getting there.
Because they're the price of Black Series figures pre-inflation, like $19.99. Yeah, it's $17. So like,
aren't they back down to like $13 at Target now? Isn't like a big thing?
$12.99. Yeah.
$12.99. Yeah.
Well, so they've fallen back down, but there was that Boba Fett exclusive that was literally $18 for TVC.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous.
Like that's like crazy.
It's like $22. Yeah.
But he was a proponent of making 3.75 inch figures less articulated, so we can spend less money and you can make more of them. And they don't have to be super modern, articulated, and stuff that.
I'm fine with fewer points of articulation. That's me, But remember, I 3D print 5 POAs all the time. Like, and I would love more selection personally.
Yep, here we go, right here. Let the youngins have their 6 inch, and the grandpa can have their rancheros.
So I don't. It would be very hard. I remember I saw an April Fool's joke this year, and I almost fell for it. Like Hasbro's combining the 6 inch and to a 5 inch line and unifying. Oh, and I first I'm like no, and then I thought that's not a horrible idea. Like that's not necessarily my favorite.
But, no, it's good. Nobody's happy.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But yeah,
restart every line. I got to rebuy every character now.
Oh my god. I don't think they could get rid of. Well, now they couldn't get rid of either one of them. I don't think that they could get rid of the vintage collection. I don't think they could get rid of the scale, and they're just making more money with the retro.
No, yeah. Do you have space for that Cantina set? Or do you have a plan to put it anywhere if you back it?
I have space. I made space on a shelf for the Jabba. No, I'm sorry, not Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett. The Bib Fortuna. The
plate. The Palace.
Yeah, that was pretty big. I don't know if I have the space for the Cantina outright.
Well, it sounds like you just buy it for the figures and sell the.
But in many ways, I'm not. I don't. The figures ultimately motivate me. The play sets aren't as. I didn't back the katana. Honestly, I'm like, it just didn't back the bar. I didn't back the barge. I'm like, where am I going to put that thing?
Oh my God, Steve Evans! I'm calling him right now. Listen, Steve.
Where am I going to put it? And the figures, I mean, there was an exclusive card back for the yak face. I'm like,
the yak face, yeah.
Did you back the ghost?
I did back the ghost.
You did, yeah.
For the specifically for the figures. I didn't. I don't want the.
Are you selling the ship, or did you get rid of
I'll
the ship?
hold on to it. I mean, eventually, like I'm sure when I die, my daughter will open up a museum of
Oh
sorts
my god.
and
They'll still
put
have an
that on
estate
eBay.
sale.
sell it.
She's gonna. That's exactly.
Let me know when the estate sale happens.
Better not do it.
Rummage it.
Estate sale. I will come back and haunt her ass.
I'll give you a quarter for these 3D printed Lego figures.
Oh my god, the amount of love that went into them. I want them to be family heirlooms. I would like you pass it on to your children.
Pass on what you have learned.
Pass on what you have earned.
Earned. There you go. That's good.
That's awesome. Well, every time you print something, you just know that you're giving your daughter like 50 cents into the future.
That's
So
my
what
thinking.
she'll sell them
Is
for.
like,
yeah.
I'm doing it and I'm having fun and I'll figure out what to do. That's for future Chris to worry about. If I could, I don't know if I'll figure out how to do it, but like basically when I die, like what's going to happen with all the Star Wars stuff that I have? I'm like, I would love to be able to like put it into a museum, like let it go to a nonprofit, let people browse, let people see.
Mhm.
Be buried with it, like a pyramid. Like get
Why not?
embalmed. Have them put it all around
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Force Ghost Chris. Yeah. I
Just
could do
be part of your own collection.
it.
you
Hey,
can,
I've got
Put
an
yourself
action
in
figure.
put yourself in carbonite.
That'd be great. I should do that.
Find out, yeah. Be the first person to actually like whenever they're dead, gets put in a carbonite mold and it'd be hung on the wall.
If only.
I want to get cremated and put like right here. Just put me like
You,
right.
you can be turned into a gem. Like they'll
There you
take
go.
the carbon
Yeah.
and put it into a gem. I want to do that.
Shine bright like a diamond.
There you go.
Something like that.
Mike, I think we need to put a figure into the Hall of Fame
We do. We
this
do.
week. So, Chris, what we do is now on every episode of Black Series Cantina, we have a Black Series Cantina Hall of Fame of Black Series action figures. So we've done 3 of these already. We've done the inaugural one was the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader. Then we did the Gamorrean Guard because it's an amazing figure. And then we did the Scout Trooper with Speeder Bike. We need our 4th Black Series Hall of Fame. Do you have any suggestions,
It's
maybe?
the AT-AT driver, the AT-AT driver,
The AT-AT drive?
or the AT-AT pilot some of it was labeled. One of them was labeled AT-AT pilot. The other one AT-AT driver.
Yeah.
There was a variant on the packaging. I'm all about the AT-AT driver. It's a go-to. It's a chase.
What about Mike? What are you thinking?
I've got 3 options.
All right.
That PS figure kind of sucks. Well, I tried.
Greedo,
Okay. That's a
20
solid choice.
the 2020 Stormtrooper body. I guess this Stormtrooper's
Yeah.
fine.
I don't think we'll do any repaints of it. We'll just do the normal
Yeah.
one.
Or-
if that gets in.
Or the Hoth Rebel Soldier.
Ooh, okay.
Or the what?
The,
The
Hoth
Hoth Rebel,
Rebel
Soldier.
Soldier. Yeah.
If I had to pick between the 3, Wilbon says Greedo rules, and maybe we'll let chat pick out of those 3. How about chat picks out of those 3? So we have some people watching. Greedo, Hoth Rebel, or the 2020 Stormtrooper. Let's let chat pick on this episode. So we're gonna wait until someone in the chat. Nah, this is bad podcasting now because the chat's waiting. Bendejo says he still picks up the Hoth Rebel when he sees it. Pletho is going, it's all OT, unfortunately.
I know, man. I'm sorry. It's all OT. Yeah.
Chris Hilsey says Stormtrooper.
I'd vote Stormtrooper, but
So the first one was the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader.
yeah.
Our second one was the Gamorrean Guard.
Yeah.
And our third one, which we did last episode, was the speeder bike, the biker scout with speeder bike.
Yeah. And we've got a vote for Greedo in the chat now, so it's 1-1.
Greedo's not bad.
I think I vote Greedo.
I'd be fine with Greedo. Not
Greedo is the longest tenured one. That
I
makes
feel
sense.
like he just
We get-
holds up though. He just holds up still.
All right, Greedo it is. Greedo it is. Wilbon put Greedo in there, so it's another vote for Greedo. So Greedo, is inductee number 4 into the Black Series Cantina Hall of Fame. He was in the early waves of the Orange line. So, and it's one of the few Orange line figures that we don't really need an update of. And that was released 10, 11 years ago at this point.
Well, and then they released it on the Power of the Force 2 card, and they didn't really do anything to change it. Like it's still good.
Yeah. I like it. Greedo.
Wilbon is a
Greedo's
super
excellent
delegate. That's
He
what
is our
that
deluxe VIP member.
that's what that deluxe VIP member tier gets him.
That's what we got to rename the tier in Patreon to the super delegate. So yeah, Greedo it is. Greedo came out so long ago and he still holds up. I don't need an updated version of him. If they wanted to, sure, but they
Yeah, I would
nailed
hate
the
it,
paint-
but like it doesn't need it. Yeah.
they nailed the paint on it way back then. They nailed the sculpt on it way back then. So yeah, I like it.
I've 3D
And-
printed a Greedo figurine. Like,
How'd it turn out?
it really well, actually, surprisingly well.
On PLA, like with all the
PLA.
little
Yeah, I'll
bits
go.
on him?
Keep talking. I'll go grab it.
All right, awesome, cool. He's gonna come back as the Emperor. Watch him.
Well, he's gonna come back as Greedo.
He's gonna be the Greedo. It's like a life-size Greedo Lego figure that he's 3D printed. Lego costume.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about Greedo. I really am. I think I try to go for like what, when you're doing Hall of Fame, you're thinking like what holds up? What's a must-have in someone's collection? Like what's just a good figure?
Also, that's one we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about 2020 Stormy, Hoth Rebel.
Yep.
Like those are going to get in for sure at
Yeah.
some point.
So I grabbed Greedo. Turned out really well, I thought.
Oh, it does look good.
Oh, that's
like a little
awesome.
vest.
So, what company does these again? These files?
His handle is Play Action Toys. He's got a $4 a month Patreon.
Okay,
And
That's
I
not
also
bad.
brought.
I
the
can afford
box
that.
that I recently did.
Oh, I love that Bosk.
That's so cool.
And can you go back and get any STL file?
Yeah, his Patreon's got them all basically,
Okay.
apart from the free ones. But yeah, I used Polymaker filament for these two. But yeah, I was like, when I look, I'm like, okay, here's the character, here's this. I'm like, what color do I have that's in a close approximation for this business? And I've been exceedingly happy with some of these that have. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I could have done this different. I could have done that different. But yeah, it's
Gridito.
Gridito came out very, very well. But if Playmobil had Star Wars, I sold you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, you're subbing to Play Action Toys. I'll tell them. It's like, hey, if you get a spike in subs, it's because
Honestly,
I said
people are going to be mad whenever I upscale the file and I print those in 6-inch.
You
Have my own little 6-inch line of those.
they'd be easy to scale up, really. Yeah. And he's improved them over time. The assembly on them has gotten easier over time. The earlier ones, some of them were tricky, but
so they're all like you print the individual parts and snap it together.
Yep.
All of those.
Yeah. And
Support
I
free
do
and all that, or
what's that?
Support free.
Yeah, not always support free. No, but the supports are easy to remove, and he has like a built-in support that usually works well. Sometimes there are errors, but he fixes them when I catch them. How many colors per on average depends. Pletho, like I did like a Shore Trooper last week, and there wasn't a lot of color changing. The Bosk was a bit more detailed because you had the arm that had the band, you had the legs that were a bit more detailed. The feet I did up differently. Greedo was a little more straightforward, not by much because you had the yellow stripes on the side, so there's two colors. Queel this week, again, arms were a bit more straightforward, legs were a bit more straightforward, but it just depends on the character, depends on the paint app, depending on what's needed. So it's all over the map.
Did he do a Darth Vader?
He's done a Darth Vader. He's got a recent sculpt that is better than his original sculpt. As I drop everything to grab him, the Vader one's pretty nice.
That's actually super sick.
Sorry, I can't. I don't have enough light.
It's too dark. Yeah.
No, it's not just that. It's my face in the wrong area. There we go.
Yeah,
There
get
you
your
go.
face out of there.
I know you don't need to see my face. Yeah, so it's a good model. The Vader one is good. I think the Vader one might be free on his My Mini Factory account, and then he moved to Patreon and started really. He does have a Jabba the Hutt, although the Jabba the Hutt is okay. Wexter's Flexi Jabba the Hutt is a much more fun print.
There's a Flexi Jabba the Hutt, and I don't know about it.
Yeah, Wexter made a Flexi Jabba that's really not. I mean, you could probably scale that to a Black Series and enjoy it.
A Flexi Jabba the Hutt Black Series. I'm going to replace
telling you.
that Jabba the Hutt with a 6-inch scale Flexi Jabba.
You could do it.
That's going to be bad.
So yeah, I mean, I like I said, every week, I don't know what he's going to release next, but generally speaking, I'm pretty happy. And then when I'm done with it, it's just like, cool, I've got another figure to go in my collection that's, growing by the week. For the most part, I've gone color accurate, not for all of the ones that I've ever printed, but the more recent-ish ones. I've probably done, if I counted 50, maybe 60 color accurate figures that he's released, maybe. And that's a guess. That's it. But yeah, some of them are easy. The Emperor's Royal Guard, really easy. The Emperor, really easy. Darth Vader, really easy. Boss, maybe not as easy. Yeah, he has an A-wing and an A-wing pilot.
How do the faces turn out, like on human-like characters, like the Emperor?
They're stylized, like
yeah.
They're not like the aliens that he's done that are a bit more, they're like Alien. Yeah,
because that Greedo looks fantastic. I was not expecting it to look that good.
Greedo came out very, very well. I was very happy with him. Some people don't like the way that he does the eyes, but you can color the eyes, and I haven't done that in a lot of the ones that I've done recently. As opposed to like Queel, I wound up doing black for his eyes, just to highlight it a bit more. Otherwise, you can just leave him blank. Because like Greedo, if you'd noticed, had holes for the eyes, but I don't mind that because it's kind of stylized. It just the shadow makes it pop a little more. So it just depends. I mean, some people like it, some people don't. It's a style. I like it. I don't have too many complaints, and he improves, with every iteration. And again, I don't have to worry about pre-orders, and I don't have to worry about waiting, and I don't have to worry about costs or inventory, and I can print out, 12.
Yeah, it's like just fun to do. I might end up doing a couple of them if I sub to the
it's fun.
Patreon,
It's fun to do. It gives you something to do, and then you get to show. And you're like, I made these. Yes, I collected these, and I bought all these, but I took a great deal of time to make something that was worth making. Which to me is like being a collector and showcasing you curate something, right? You get out of your collection to show it off. And that way, in many ways, it's in the same vein. I'm proud of saying, I made this, I made that.
Yeah. So before we wrap up the podcast, we do have some questions for you. The first one being, what is your favorite Black Series figure?
The AT-AT driver.
AT-AT driver. All right, I like it.
The white Vader I'm really happy with too, and I have the white Vader for the comic.
I do like the white.
That's a cool one.
That's a good one.
There's the comic Vader, and I have him out of package too. But then I've got the Black Series white Vader I have is back here. Speaking of 3D, I 3D printed do y'all know this one? Anybody? Bonus points if you know this Star Wars figure.
Oh, hang on. Let me make you big. Let me make you big.
Who's this Star? I 3D printed my own. Who is that?
It's good. I mean, it looks like an upside down Tessic. I don't know.
But who is this?
Mike Case.
I don't know. Honestly,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Fake fan over here.
It is. I'm since chat's not able to catch up. I mean, I know it's Black Series podcast, but that would be a vintage style Mongo Beefhead. When Kenner was trying to figure out what to do with figures after the Star Wars movies, they kit bashed a Tessic head and Hammerhead's arms, and then basically kit bashed a Mongo Beefhead.
I just looked it up right now. I had no idea this existed.
Mongo Beefhead. So anyway, yeah, the white Vader I'm pretty happy with because it's pretty unique. So this
it's pretty neat. Vader. So do you wish he would have had a blue lightsaber instead?
Doesn't bother me. I'm not. I don't get as deep as other y'all might get. Like with, I wish it was this accessory, that accessory. Honestly, I never really chased the accessories as much. The figures, I was enamored by, but the accessories sometimes got lost.
Next up, what's your least favorite Black Series figure?
Almost every human likeness like that has been released. I'm not into the human likenesses of anything. That's why I guess I don't mind like the vintage collection. Well, maybe to a certain degree, don't mind the vintage collection. But for me, the more it tries to look human, I mean, they look great, but like they're still like, it just doesn't hit the same as like a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Right? And I know they've done a great job with the face, what was it
the
called?
technology, the photo reels improved.
Photo reel,
Yeah,
right?
face printing,
Like,
yeah.
it's neat, and I like that they did it, but I'm still not as much of a. I'd rather have like the Lando Calrissian, skiff guard Lando with his helmet on than with it off. I mean, just there's just something about masks and helmets and aliens that this can be an approximation of a Greedo without looking picture perfect, and I still know it's a Greedo versus like a Han Solo that has a huge head that doesn't look like Harrison Ford at all, right? So I'm just not anything that's human likeness. I'm trying to think. There was one that was, oh God, what series was it? God, it was a generic a generic First Order officer from the It just, okay, I get it, but yeah, it was human likeness, not even a bit character, not a great army builder. Yeah.
What's your favorite era to collect? Like prequel trilogy, sequels, OT?
Oh, it's all
media.
Like if it's a modern thing, they're all, I'm not going to say they're all the same, but they're all the same to me. Like it doesn't, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if there's like I'm kind of tired of seeing Obi-Wan from the Phantom Menace. Like I'm like, I don't, or like I'm burnt on the Phantom Menace for the most part because like they were so they produced so many of them. Granted, not in the Black Series, but like just toys to collect. I'm just like, it's just not interesting to me.
There wasn't anything like the 1999 push for the Phantom Menace, honestly. Yeah.
So, I love anything that highlights like the aliens, creatures, so like I love that, they released like the Jedi from Attack of the Clones era Jedi or Clone Wars Jedi, like Shaak Ti or Isla Secura, Plo Koon, etc. Kit Fisto. I love aliens and
Ki-Adi
and Imperials. I didn't get a Ki-Adi Mundi. It's like
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees, though, Chris? Come on.
I'm good.
His thoughts dwell on your mother.
I'm reminded of what's his name, Yarrow Poof, the robot chicken episode. What about you, dog face? Did you council? Oh, sure. Send Yarrow to get pizza.
What's been your favorite innovation in collecting, like with the figures over the years?
Ooh, I do appreciate the photo reel. I do appreciate because the human likenesses became better, and they become a stark contrast to what you had before to where it is now. So I have appreciated that in every scale. I think it's still not my, as I said, it's not my jam. I'm inclined to put a helmet on something. But I think that's not to be understated. I mean, I remember the days of the monkey face Leia.
Oh yeah,
of course,
1995.
But
I remember the days of the Poe Dameron that looks like a dog from Black Series for the Force Awakens X-Wing pilot.
But see, it didn't bother me because I knew it was just gonna. It wasn't gonna look
helmet.
like him anyway. I remember when they stopped producing Star Wars figures, and it was sad because I loved collecting them, and they were gone for a long while, and then suddenly at Toys R Us, I heard on the internet back in the early 90s, hey, they're gonna have new Star Wars figures, and then Bendham's were out, and like, what the Bendham's?
I remember that.
And then they released on card the Star Wars figures, and I was excited until I saw like what happened. They had steroids, like between the time that I collected them and now, and
I'm Luke
they were
Skywalker.
buffed and big, and Luke was ripped, and
He's ripped.
Leia looked absolutely ghastly, and she's like, but I still got them. I'm like, this is cool. They're Star Wars figures again, but like, I kind of really missed the boat on them.
Yeah. I would ask you, we always ask Black Series or Vintage Collection, but I feel like I don't even need to ask.
We all know your
all
answer.
know,
Yeah.
we know
All right,
the
yeah,
answer.
you don't need to ask me that one.
So now we're going to get a little deep on the late night cantina here. What do toys mean to you?
Well, I couldn't. I didn't have discretionary income as a kid and wanted to collect. I think from the first time I flipped over that AT-AT driver card and said collect all 42 or whatever the number was, I was like, I have to have all 42. I don't know how I'm going to get all 42, but I had to. I mean, there's something, collect them all. I'm like, oh my God, I can collect them all. I know nothing about this. And that was it. So toys to me are a reminder of a simpler time, a reminder of what made me happy and how that happiness is found within. And I do enough adulting. I'm responsible to the last. I'm not a man child. I'm a kidult. And I need a form of escapism too. And so toys and collecting and looking around and saying, look what I did. Some people would be overwhelmed by it. I totally get that. Because this house is full of Star Wars stuff. I mean, it's full of other stuff, but like Star Wars stuff, it's a collection. And toys in general, Lego, Star Wars, and beyond. But I'm always happy when someone comes over and I get a chance to show them. So it's pride to me too. And you get to hear stories and you get to explain that, this is this and this is this, and there are stories behind this collectible and that collectible. So I think it's a mishmash of a lot of that, but it's just knowing that I have to be an adult. So does that mean I have to forget what made me happy? Why can't I find that again? Why can't I have that again? Because I'm older? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm still going to be serious and take my work seriously and do what I need to do to pay the bills. But at the same time, is that my life? Is my life just paying the bills? I'm not into sports.
Yeah.
I'm not into, I don't do a lot of outdoor activities. I love entertainment. And I don't collect everything, even the stuff that I enjoy. I don't have a lot of that other stuff. But, what titillates me is just seeing that and remembering that and enjoying that and reveling that and surrounding myself by that. You can do that with toys. You can surround yourself by it. You can just be reminded without even needing to be reminded. And especially as an adult, I have, it's a hobby. Just like 3D printing, Star Wars is a hobby as much a hobby as it is collecting.
Yeah, great answer here. And then, so I had to throw on this last question recently, but for the gag, are you a fan of Sebastian Shaw as the Force Ghost or Hayden Christensen as the Force Ghost?
Yeah, okay. So I've wrestled with this. I guess it doesn't bother me as much as it probably should, because I didn't grow up that way, right? But it made sense because he was a Jedi and he was the return. That was the Jedi who returned. So it made more sense to do that. But here's the problem. Well, so he died as so he came back to his Jedi form. But Alec Guinness or Obi-Wan died. I mean, I don't know. I haven't quite wrapped my head around everything. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, since you didn't say that the Hayden version sucks and you hate it, that's what a lot of people would try to say. So that's you're on Team Hayden. It's official.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
crowning you Team Hayden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't. It was a little. See, I'm one of those that I enjoyed the special editions. Didn't bother me as much as it bothered other people. I didn't mind. It just didn't bother me. I mean, just to be brutally honest, like it just did not bother me. So yeah, I thought it was interesting and like it made me think like, why that? So if anything, it just added a bit more, depth. Though, I do remember Sebastian Shaw. I'm like, that was the Anakin Skywalker figure that I collect. I still have the vintage collection, the literal vintage Anakin Skywalker figure. Sebastian Shaw is a Force ghost, right? Yeah, it's fascinating to me, but it's I don't know. There's a lot that the whole episode could be just unpacking that. Like, why did he revert back to that Anakin? Well, because he died as a Jedi. Well, but if he dies as a Jedi, he had returned as a Jedi at that point. Why wouldn't he have died or became or let's go. I don't know if this has been canonized, but let's just, since we're doing this, let's do it. I almost dropped an F-bomb there. Let's do it.
We're late into the pod. You can drop the bombs.
Maybe, just maybe, the ghost, you appear as though you want to appear, meaning you're in control of that vision. That's you're a ghost. You don't exist. You're not on this plane. So you're appearing, right? Just like Anakin appeared to Ahsoka. I'm sorry, Sabine as a Force ghost. Which was interesting, right? He appeared as his younger self. If he appeared as Sebastian Shaw, that scene would have made no sense. Like, who's this dude?
A man of culture, right? That's what I'm saying.
But my feeling is, if I had to headcanon it, it would be that the individual chose the form that they appear as to other people. Because if you remember the movie Contact, she flies to this this other part of the galaxy or another galaxy, and it's the alien's her father. Well, because that's the form that the alien took to make it more comfortable. It's not to say you do it for the other person's comfort, but you choose as a Jedi your form to appear as in death, right? Because you don't exist on that plane anymore. You are still able to communicate with the living, if you will, but you should be able to, I feel, choose that appearance. So I feel Anakin then chose to return to his younger self to appear, as opposed to alternate reality Star Wars, whereas I died and this is me as at the moment of my death. So again, just going a little deeper than that and applying just a little bit of headcanon and a little bit of logic. If I had to logic my way through that, that's how I do it. But I learned about. There's a Star Wars ring theory, I think is what it was called years ago, when I was having a big problem with the prequels, specifically Revenge of the Sith. Then I read the Star Wars ring theory. I'm like, oh my God. Like, suddenly it makes sense. Like, Padme did not die of a broken heart. Vader sucked the life out of her, right? And then Palpatine basically told the truth. But the problem is you can't tell whether or not you can trust Palpatine because he's a Sith, but he has got, it's just like, boom, oh my God. So the way it was edited, the way that it was scripted, the way that it was done was ghastly. There wasn't enough exposition. But once you start going a few layers deep, it's like, okay, that makes sense. So sometimes you got to think about it. Sometimes it's not just on the surface. I feel like, there's ways to headcanon your way through it and still be okay.
Yeah. Good answer.
I realize I over answered the question, but
no, you're totally fine.
This is the content we pay for.
This is the content that our listeners want. I would say. But yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it for us on the Black Series Cantina. Chris, we can't say thank you enough for coming on and spending your 3 hours with us.
I do it all. I mean, I talk to stuff even when no one's listening.
So just in case somebody out there lives under a rock and doesn't have Wi-Fi internet connection and has never heard of you or seen your stuff online, can you give our listeners, just tell them where they can find you on the socials?
Yeah, just my name. If you just search my name, I'm everywhere on every account. I don't update them as well. I probably do every day, but I'm active on Threads, Mastodon. I still do YouTube videos. Once a week, I do a vlog. I'm on Twitch. I've got a 24/7 3D printing channel called MakerDeck, where anybody can join and 3D print alongside other people. I've got 1,001 hobbies. I've got TikTok, Instagram. That's where you'll find, if you want to see my collection, what I might collect. TikTok, Instagram, to a certain degree, Threads and Twitter. But my TikTok is basically now pretty much all the new collection. I do it's a 15-second, don't go there thinking I'm going to get an in-depth whatever. No, it's me talking for 15 seconds rattling through something, showcasing, and then moving on. Because ain't nobody got time for a minute long, whatever anymore. So it's 15 seconds, or your next one is free.
Awesome. I just now followed you on TikTok.
Oh well, hopefully the algorithm will be friendly.
I
You
hope so.
got to worry about the algorithm too, and that's been my
Yeah,
problem. I'm interested
I
in two different
post-
things.
I post one per day. That's my go-to.
I need to get into doing more than, or I need to do more than one a day, or do more to do one a day. It's just that at the end of the day, I'm like, oh crap, I need to record something, and then I just punt to the next day.
Yeah, I'll usually, if I have like 2 hours or so of free time, I'll film, like 6 TikToks and just put them in the drafts.
Smart.
Edit
Yeah,
them, put them in the drafts, and just have them. Oh, and then like if something gets announced and released, I'll record the video like then and post it then.
Yeah,
but
smart.
That's like a every once or twice a month situation. So
Yeah. Smart.
So you can follow me, of course, on TikTok at the Star Wars Black Series. You can follow me on Instagram, Black Series Cantina, because my really big account got banned almost a year ago. Mike, we're like about a month away from the anniversary of
That
the
was
death.
a saga.
And then, of course, here on the podcast. And then, Mike, I know you've been popping out some banger videos lately.
Thanks,
So what are your plans on the YouTube?
Yeah, well, just did my Kiani review. I got a little channel update doing that giveaway I talked about, and then I'm also working on my my Droidica review. I don't know if I'll get that done. I'm going out of town this weekend for a couple days, so I don't know if I'll get it done before then. But I'll have it done soon-ish. You can look at that on Mike Case on YouTube.com. Also, I'm on the Instagram, Trusty Sidekick. I'm on everything else pretty much at Mike Case. Just type me in like Chris. Just type in my name. I'm there.
I follow Mike already. That's
Yeah, you
I
do.
just followed Star Wars Black Series.
There you go.
Hey, heck yeah.
That's what we do. Build our audience one person at a time.
But hey, my Facebook, my algorithm on Facebook is all Star Wars. Like I don't, or Star Wars and collecting and Lego, like the stuff that I love. So like I try to, but although my TikTok is all like inspirational, it's just sometimes the algorithm is like, okay, so I go to TikTok for certain things. I go to Instagram for toy photography, or used to, like, but now that's dominated by reels that I just don't care about. Like every platform I've got different things. Like Threads is all over the map. X is all over the map, but smattering of people here and there. So you never know what's going to hit the radar.
Yeah, true. If you would like to join our Patreon, that's Black Series Cantina on Patreon. Like we said earlier, we have a tier for every budget. Leave us a review if you cannot financially support us. That is a great help as well. We have merch, like we have coffee mugs, we have long sleeve t-shirts,
Short
polo,
sleeve t-shirts,
hoodies,
glassware,
Collect them all.
We have it all. Collect it all. Yeah, we
die
have
cut
it all on
stickers.
there. Die cut stickers. Yep. Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at TBS Cantina. Join our Facebook group. Chris, if you're on Facebook and you want to join the Black Series Cantina Facebook group, you can. It's literally just Black Series Cantina, so everybody can join that as well. And then shoot us an email if you want your email answered on the next podcast. That is blackseriescantina@gmail.com. And well, I'm Zach. That's Mike. Thank you, Chris, for
very much
joining us on this podcast.
Happy.
And then we'll see you all in 2 weeks for the next pod.
That's right. Bye.